Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Monday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. You heard the handsome update anchor correctly. General manager of your Columbus Blue Jackets, Don Waddell, going to join us coming up at 9:30. Austin at 10:30. We will blitz the weekend and really blitz the week that was coming up over the course of the next three. It is good to be back. I have this recurring dream that I've had really for probably the last 20 years. And I have it on nights like last night. So one thing that I try to do when I get away, and we were busy as heck, and I'll give you some of the best highlights of the time away over the course of the next three. But one thing that typically happens is I try to unplug a little bit. And I try to not pay attention to what's going on a daily basis because, as you guys know, and in this business and in probably many businesses out there, there's really never turning off the faucet when it comes to information. Like, you turn it on and it just flows and you pay attention, because otherwise, at least for my purposes, it feels like it kind of stacks up on me. So I'm kind of always monitoring things and what's going on in the world of sports and college football primarily. But when I get away, I try to stay off. So I'd stay off the phones and kind of stay clear of it. And so I always, when I'm off for a week like that, I come back and I think, all right, well, now what just happened? So there's a big scramble. And inevitably, I have this same dream. And it's a dream that I've had probably 1,000 times in the last 20 years. And the dream usually goes something like this. And it emanates from my time in television. There is a clock that I look up at in the dream, and it will show, for example, 11:13. Okay, so back to the old 11 o'clock news, 10 TV days, it would show like 11:13. And it would show that I have not written anything in any script, that all the scripts are empty. And then I furiously try to get scripts written to be able to do a show. And inevitably, it ends with something along the lines of me going to the director, just follow along, it'll all make sense. And then I wake up and I go, wow, what happened? Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. You're not in television anymore. You don't have to script anything. We're just talking. So that's usually the way that it typically works. But I had that dream last night. And so when I'm preparing the show this morning, taking a look at it at all, it's a catch-up is what it is. You're catching up on what the Blue Jackets did. You're catching up on what's happening in college football recruiting. We're catching up with, apparently you guys went viral with Feinbaum a little bit over the course of the time that I was off. So we'll have a little fun with that. Speaking of Paul, he had some comments about Ryan Day that we'll talk about a little bit later on in the program. So you have those things to look forward to, which are very, very nice. It was very nice to get away. It was the most insane travel experience that we've ever done in terms of what we attempted to pull off. You will recall before we left that I had told the story about how we had actually double booked our flights. So my wife initially booked us flying to Spokane, Washington, spend some time in Coeur d'Alene, and then go see my dad in Montana. And she had booked us to fly on a day that we were actually in Baltimore. And so that was not going to work. So what we did in the time that I was gone is a week ago Friday, we drove to Annapolis, played lacrosse games in the Annapolis-Baltimore area for Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, drove back on Sunday, then flew out Monday to Spokane, Washington, rented an SUV, went to Coeur d'Alene, stayed at the resort there, and that's where the floating green is. The one with you have to take the boat to go over. It's there. So the boys and I played. I can report that all three of us put it on the first attempt. I actually made par and got a certificate for doing so, which is really out of the ordinary for me. To actually make par was pretty stunning. But I did get videos of both of the boys getting it across and landing it. Neither was on the green. NBC's was in the bunker front right, and Beamsy's was deep, actually, which surprised me. But all of us got on. No balls were wet in that specific instance. So we did that, and then went over to Montana. Drove to Montana, about 6 hours from Coeur d'Alene to where I grew up. So did that drive and then flew back on Saturday through O'Hare. And this is pretty remarkable. And those who listen regularly know I have no luck in travel. None. This thing went aces. Every flight on time. In fact, got in a little bit early. Rental car situation, perfect. Hotels, I really had no issues. I have no beef, which is a strange thing for a guy like me. A couple of things were absolutely startling. There is a road, an interstate that you drive from northern Idaho into Montana, and you drive right through the Rocky Mountains. Now, it's 4 lanes. It's 4 lanes, but you quite literally drive through and over. It's called Lookout Pass. You drive over the Rocky Mountains, and then you drop into Missoula. And it's one of those things that I guess when I grew up there, I didn't think of it. But I'm going to tell you something. When you are on one of those roads driving through and over the Rocky Mountains and you see a speed limit sign that says 80 miles an hour, you start to realize that out there they're choosing violence with the speeds. Because I'm going to tell you right now, 70 miles an hour on those roads, for the vast majority of people that are driving them, is in no ways reasonable and prudent, is in no way safe. I don't know how they do not have more accidents. I had a buddy of mine who actually flew into Montana on Saturday, and he could not believe the 80-mile-an-hour speed limit. Because you know what happens when it's 80. You're going 89 is what most of the Montana folks drive. So when you're going 80-plus miles an hour in a pickup truck, it's an attention getter. Overall, it was great to be gone. It was great to be away. It was great, awesome time with the families. I did have one near-death experience on horseback that I'll share a little bit later. Truly, probably the closest I've ever come to death maybe in my life. I'll share a little bit later on in the program. I did want to share one story from Annapolis because if you've missed this and you're traveling this summer, this is very, very real. So through various contacts, I had set up a tour at the Naval Academy on this was a week ago Friday. And as we're going through the security, it's like TSA a little bit, right? You got to put everything in the X-ray, and then you walk through, and away you go. And my wife, they asked for ID, and my wife showed her driver's license, and the officer said, "Where's your real ID?" And my wife said, "That is my real ID." And she said, No, that's a fake ID. Where's your real ID? And my wife said, "Well, no, it's my driver's license." And she said, "I know, but it's not a real ID." And then it occurred to me, and I've heard about this through the time, but we haven't really traveled much with it, that you have to have the real ID to fly TSA. Now, we always get around it because we use the passports, and so it's fine. But you had to have a real ID to get on the Naval Academy as well. So all federal things, you have to have those things as well. I think it went into effect in May. So if you do not have one, and by the way, on Monday morning, a week ago today, we were in the clear line, in the TSA pre-line, and there was a poor guy who did not have real ID. And he's like, "I got to get back to California." And the short answer to it was, good luck. Buy a car, rent a car, ride a Greyhound. I don't know how you get from Ohio to California any other way, but they're done with it. And I know that many of you know this, but just in case you don't, if you don't have the real ID, you're not going anywhere in the United States right now on an airplane, and you're certainly not getting on any sort of federal government building without one anymore either. So go get those if you haven't had them. Like I said, I paid very little attention to the sports world. Very little. I think an NBA champion was crowned when I was gone, I believe. I think that
you have
happened. Was that right, Reese? Did that happen at the time I was gone? Did we had a champion in the NBA crowd as well? So, look, there's been a lot going on. We're going to get into some of the specifics. It's good to be back, boys. How we doing?
Ship was still in the water.
I see that.
So you come back.
We didn't get fired.
It's all well. We did minimal baseball.
Now, I don't know about that. I heard I had several reports.
Whoa.
That as soon as I was away, you guys were in the hen house, and it was baseball, and it was Bill James. It was the whole thing every day.
That's just hearsay, bro.
I can't believe
Just
somebody would
hearsay
say that
right
to you.
now.
They would bother you on your vacation with just straight up lies.
I legit got an email.
Snitch.
We'll save for emails on Thursday. But I legit got an email, and the title just said, they're talking a lot of baseball.
I don't remember that. Sounds like a different show.
What happened?
He might have been listening to Rothman and Ice. I've heard we sound very similar. Baker to Matty Ice. I heard that all the time. All the time last week.
Cooking with hot grease over here.
Well, it is good to be back. We'll have a little fun with all of the things that were missed. We'll catch up on the Jacket side of things. As I mentioned, Don Waddell going to join us at 9:30, and then 10:30, of course, Austin Ward. It's been a really interesting last couple of weeks on the recruiting side of things for the Buckeyes, and I kind of explain what's going on there and kind of what's going on in the sport. So we'll get into that as well. We're off and running. It is great to be back on a Monday edition. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
It's July in Central Ohio. The grills are hot, the sun is hotter, and chances are you've seen a Newman Roofing truck rolling through your neighborhood. Maybe you've talked to one of our team members at a local event, or know someone who proudly says, yeah, I've got a Newman roof. At Newman Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company. We're your neighbors. And for the last 33 years, your support has helped us grow as a family-owned business. So we give back the best way we know how. With quality work, lasting relationships, and a lifetime workmanship warranty that means you'll never be left out in the rain. Thousands of families across Central Ohio have trusted us and had their expectations exceeded. And it's why we've been voted Best Roofing Company in Best of the Bus magazine for 4 years running now. So this summer, don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Everyone wants to be number one, right? And if you can't be number one, at least in the top 10. Well, Ohio is consistently in the top 10, and no one is claiming bragging rights. Ohio ranks in the top 10 states for train car accidents each and every year. If you drive in Ohio, please always be careful at every railroad crossing and report unsafe crossings at angelsontrack.org, because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and this station.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know in making the most of your home, DIY doesn't just stand for do it yourself. It also means dream it yourself. And we're here to help protect the dreams you're building. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
They were national champs on the football field. But how far can they hit us softball? Find out at the Monogram Homes Cardale Jones Charity Softball Game.
Presented by the Ohio State University Army ROTC. Saturday, July 19th at Huntington Park.
Bring the whole family and watch Team Cardale battle Team Braxton Miller. Don't miss the Home Run Derby and see stars like Ted Ginn Jr. and Maurice Clarett. Get your tickets at 971thefan.com. Do it now.
No one knows better than a mom what's right for our kids. But with so many apps and devices, protecting them feels harder than ever. My name is Emily. My husband and I have 3 kids, and we live in Strongsville. Ohio needs to act and put parents back in charge by passing a common sense law to require app stores to get parental approval before children download apps.
By requiring parental consent and age verification in the App Store, parents will have a simple, secure, and reliable way to choose what's best for their own kids. That's why Ohio's Fraternal Order of Police and the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation both support this common sense approach.
With one clear place to approve the apps they use, Ohio can put parents back in charge.
Tell your state legislators to pass the App Store Accountability Act now. Learn more at owlr.org. Paid for by Ohio Women Lead Right.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of showers and thunderstorms very similar to the last several days into the afternoon and early evening, some which could be on the stronger side. Afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s and still muggy conditions. For tonight, we'll see chances of showers and storms and early lows down into the 70s. And for Tuesday, the best chances for showers and storms will be the first half of the day and our highs in the mid to upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Fan, Ohio sports destination. Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
So last night I was sitting here and just kind of flipping around looking for something to watch, and I got a text from Threes, and he said, "Are you still in Idaho?" And I said, "No." And he sent me a screenshot of CNN, and in Coeur d'Alene, which is this gorgeous little resort town on a beautiful lake in northern Idaho. Couldn't recommend it more highly enough. Did you guys see the story last night of a guy who started a fire? He started a forest fire on purpose, and then, you know, the most heroic people on the planet, firefighters, charged in to put it out. And by the way, the biggest scourge on the West is firefighting. It's fires. That's what it is. I mean, you saw it in Southern California, Pacific Palisades. My brother is quick to say that Montana doesn't have spring either. Rather, they don't have summer. They have winter. They have spring, and they have fire season. And so it's paramount that you get these fires out right away, or it'll take out entire regions. And that's not hyperbole. They'll take out entire regions. So some idiot started a fire on purpose. The firefighters charge into the fire to put it out yesterday in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and the idiot who started it opens fire on them, killing 2 Can you imagine this? Killing 2 firefighters and injuring several others. And it's just, I just cannot imagine. None of us can. You can't put yourself in the position to wrap your head around that type of anger and violence and just stupidity. Just awful. And to just be there on Wednesday of last week and to have it happen, it hit home, and you just think of just how pointless all of that is. And so our thoughts are with those folks, and our first responders are among our bravest on this planet, and all they're trying to do is their job, and you have this type of thing. It just absolutely disgusting stuff out there. So I was seeing that last night, and it's just absolutely tragic. No way to transition from that to everything else. But the Blue Jackets went about the business of rebuilding this roster through the draft. Free agency will be this week, and as I mentioned, Don Waddell is going to join us in about 10 minutes. Bake, this is your wheelhouse, very, very bigly. You know what is at stake for this franchise this summer. How did all of this go?
So I don't think it went according to plan, right? Because I think most of us thought that at least one of those draft picks, maybe both of them, were going to be traded. And listen, they were deep in discussions with the New York Islanders about getting Noah Dobson, and they decided that the price was too high. It sounded like it was going to be both first-round picks, which is what Montreal gave for Dobson. It sounded like the New York Islanders really wanted Dmitry Voronkov, and they wanted another pick or a prospect, this sounds like, because Montreal had already offered a prospect player in those 2 first-round picks. And then you had to sign Dobson to a $9.5 million contract like Montreal did or more. So the Jackets end up using the picks. I like the guys that they got, but neither of those guys is going to help this roster in the next few seasons. I mean, the goalie, Andrianov, he's got a KHL contract for 5 more years. So he's not even going to be in North America until 2029. So you're not going to have that for a while. But the Jackets did make a trade with Colorado before the draft. They bring in Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood. I think that immediately makes the Blue Jackets tougher to play against. And Miles Wood's a guy that in Colorado the past couple years has struggled, but his career got off to a pretty good start in New Jersey. I'm only imagining, Bo, him and Matthew Olivier on the same line and opponents being scared to death looking over their shoulder all the time because they are going to get hit with those two guys on the ice. So they definitely got tougher to play against on Friday.
Yeah, Reese, I'm interested to talk to Don here in about 8 minutes about it'll be the first question. Here's your preview. Like, how do you view this team? What is this team to you? I mean, how do you – because that's it. That determines what you do in the draft. It determines what this free agency should look like. But it all starts with, where do you think this franchise is?
Yeah, I would imagine by the moves that they made, the 6 players that they drafted, the Dante Fabro extension, he spoke before the draft about getting the Fantilli deal done, that they view this as on the up, very much on the up, because there was thought that, that they weren't going to use both picks that they had in the first round on players. They get a big body defenseman and then that goaltender that Baker just mentioned, still, with KHL agreements, but their other draft picks were defensemen and then centers. And so they wanted to get bigger, they wanted to get tougher, and it looks like they did that. But they also are doing a job to, maintain their core guys that helped them out this season. And the coolest thing from Friday, yes, seeing all the guys accomplish their dreams, getting drafted by NHL franchises, with Meredith Goudreau announcing both picks for the Blue Jackets, and in that arena or the forum where they held the draft, you heard the Johnny Hockey chants, and the idea that she's going to be with this team only, but hopefully forever, incredibly powerful, and it's just all the little things that Don and that Dean do make me very excited about the future of this organization, and I'm sure we'll hear from him about that coming up in a couple minutes.
It's so stunning because neither of them knew Johnny. Not really.
They got it. They get it.
Yeah, and they landed all of those things. Yeah, I don't know how she does it. I really don't. I don't. Everyone. I think about Dami all the time, and what when he loses Maria and how he weaponized that into doing some of the greatest things that's ever been done in Central Ohio in terms of educating and pouring his passion, heart, and soul into a cause so that it doesn't happen to anybody else. Sometimes, to me, it feels like it's a bit of a lifeline for her, that her identity is with it. And so you're right. As long as she's willing, arms wide open, and embrace and be as much or as little as you want, it's entirely up to you. And I'm sure that's what they've said. They're such a first-class operation. I'm assuming that's exactly what they said on those things. A couple other things. We had stadium stuff that we've had over the last week or so. The Bengals kind of out of nowhere get their stadium thing kind of locked in. The Browns thing wasn't out of nowhere. I mean, that was well understood that that's how that was going to go. Like that, I've been saying that for a very, very long time.
Bless your heart, City of Cleveland.
Yeah,
and I mean the elected officials up there.
Yeah,
come on.
That was going to. There was a time, maybe there was a time, but that time had long since passed, and so they'll get to work on that thing, and you're going to get a dome, and I think it's going to be a remarkable thing for the state of Ohio. It'll be a big thing for the Browns to have. Let's just be very clear. You saw what they've done at lower.com. Okay. That was in quick order. They had to put that thing together and build that stadium the way that they did. This one they've planned for fully. And you saw how great LDC is. So what that thing's going to be up there is going to be just simply the best stadium in the NFL. And that's pretty wild to think that Cleveland played where they played for all of those years at Municipal on the Lake in what would very generously be described as a dump. Certainly by the end, and then the last couple of years at Huntington Bank Field, and now they're going to play in that type of venue. And I do think, from a Buckeye perspective, I think you're going to get Big Ten championship games there. I think you could see home playoff games there. I definitely think you could see a national title game, that type of thing up there. I do think they'll get a Super Bowl up there at some point. I think they'll get Final Fours and all of those things. So this is going to help us a lot. We're not going to have to drive to Indy for these type of things anymore. We're going to get our fair share of them in the state. So that I thought was very, very positive as well. Do I have this right, that the Reds are better than the Gardos? I've come back to that. Is this the reality?
Welcome. Everything's fine.
No bats needed, Reese?
So
You're
just
fine?
a dumpster fire. It's the Guardians are the team that I kind of thought they would be. If their bats go, if they can't get quality pitching because everybody's on the injured list, they just don't have it in terms of, outside of Ramirez and Kwan, they're not going to hit anything. And the Reds have a lot of hope, a lot of young talent, and they put together a 4-game win streak. They beat the San Diego Padres 2-3 over the weekend, and Padres are, nothing to shrink at.
So the Reds, record-wise, are better than the Guardians, and I understand they're kind of both like on different paths right now. The Reds have been trending up recently and the Guardians down, but they're both 2.5 games out of the wild card. So they're both right there in the fight for the playoffs.
Yeah, they're in the mix. Yeah, so this could be a fun month. To me, it feels, and again, I'm not paying as close attention as either of you, but it feels like the Reds are trending up and the Guardians are trending down. Is kind of what the last week is kind of getting. That would be an accurate portrayal to Reese. One of the thing, the loss of Dave Parker over the weekend as well. I did not know him as a Pittsburgh Pirate or a Cincinnati Red. I knew him coming in late with the Oakland A's towards the end of his career, and just seemed like about the coolest dude ever. And that Me and the Boys Boppin' T-shirt that Homage sells is just so cool. You probably had a better handle on him, Bake, than I.
So my very first baseball memories of the Reds, Dave Parker was still on the team, but not for very long. Like my real memories of the Reds are right after Dave Parker, when Paul O'Neill took over in right field, and Eric Davis and Barry Larkin coming in and pushing Kurt Stillwell out, and then the 1990 World Series. But yeah, the one thing you always remember about Dave Parker, to me at least, was a massive human and had a rocket for a right arm.
He did. Yeah, absolute rifle attached to his right shoulder. Absolutely. All right, in 2 minutes, General Manager of your Columbus Blue Jackets, Don Waddell, will join the program. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Evan Cohen here. According to a recent ZipRecruiter survey, 76% of employers plan to expand headcount for 2025. If you're one of these employers, add ZipRecruiter's latest feature, Zip Intro, to your hiring plan. It does most of the work for you, so you save time. Just pick a time, and Zip Intro finds and schedules qualified candidates for you. You can even meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/USL. That's ZipRecruiter.com/USL.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Cool cars, cool people, good time. It's the biggest and best hot rodding event of the year. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals, presented by PPG. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 classics from across the USA. Shop the swap meet at Huge Vendor Midway. See which rides take home the crown of the 2025 Classic Instrument Street Rods and PPG Street Machine of the Year. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, and here's what's up on a Monday edition of the program. We had on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline conversation with the boss, the general manager of Columbus Blue Jackets. It's Don Waddell, and he joins us. Don, thank you so much for taking the time. One thing we do here on the show is we always set kind of a standard of how we're going to judge teams. You've been on the job for about a year, and you've taken it all in, and you just conducted the draft. So you've got a lot of work already in and a lot more to do this summer. Where do you view your roster and this franchise right now?
Well, I think we're in a pretty good place for, everything we went through last year, I felt like we took a big step last year for multiple reasons. One is our young players, all of them to a man, I thought were better last year than they have been. And that's just the growing. It's not that we did anything magical. It's the growing of young players and then supplementing with the veterans that we added. We're headed in the right direction. Are we there yet? Absolutely not. Everything takes a little time to keep adding pieces every summer, and we did that when we were looking for a right shot center all year, and we're able to trade for Charlie Coyle, and Miles Wood.
Yeah, that's the other. You see a move like that, and you say, okay, well, that fits right in there. You talk about a right shot center, and it fits right in there. I think Blue Jacket fans, just big picture, are. I think you see the young talent. It blossomed so well this past season, and there's all of us, we lack patience, don't we, Don? And let's go right now. But you have to have both the immediate and the big picture in mind. Compared to where you were a year ago, are you further along than maybe you thought you would be in terms of the roster that was here, and then this Coyle trade that happened over the weekend only adding to it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've taken steps for sure. When I came here last year, you're always wondering how these next guys, the Fantillis and Ken Johnson and Marchenko and Matejchuk came up 30 games in a year and making all rookie teams. So to be able to see those guys take that big step, and they're going to continue to grow. But they only grow because you surround them with good people and good veterans. You got Monahan and Boone Jenner and, Werenski, of course. When you have these type of guys continue to teach these young players and not only on the ice but off the ice, it makes me feel good that we are going in the right direction. You got to look at it. My position, you're looking at it, we want to be better this year. I think we're better as we sit here today. Mm-hmm. But you also got to look at the next 4 or 5 years because we're going to have some big contracts come up with our young players. We never want to put ourselves in a position where we can't keep your young players as they develop, and you have to sign them long term. So certainly we have, I always work off a 5-year plan. Doesn't mean that we're not going to go off that plan sometimes, but we all want to be better. That's for sure. That's number one, and we feel like we've made some steps to be better. If you go back last year, as a team, we stuck together. We, right in March there, we're in a playoff spot. We're going through a bad spell for 5 or 6 games, and then we kicked it back up toward the end of the year. So we got to build off all that. We're not satisfied with missing the playoffs. We're satisfied that we're taking that step, and I feel like we're heading in the right direction.
Don, I think certainly some folks in the hockey world thought that maybe those 2 draft picks that you guys had in the first round would not be taken by you. How close were you to a deal with those 2 first-round picks, or maybe one of those 2 first-round picks?
Yeah, we tried like heck, I got to tell you. This is a different year. With the cap going up this year and continuing to go up, everybody's looking to trade for players. They weren't as interested in draft picks as you see. There's very few drafts, very few trades happen. I think it was the least amount of trades ever happened on draft day or leading up to it because everybody's looking for players. There's not as many players on the free agent market because with the cap going up, people are keeping their own players. So totally different year. Years past, he's had a lot of teams that were in cap problems, had to move contracts. This year, it's been very few teams that have put themselves in that spot. So, as much as we wanted to, we could have made some trades with it, but we didn't feel comfortable that those are the right moves to make. So we ended up keeping our picks and feel really good about the players we selected. Now there's other ways you got to address your needs.
Talking to Blue Jacket General Manager Don Waddell, read some of your quotes over the weekend with from Porty about 3 of the top 14 players on your board. You end up with those 3 picks. Have you ever had? I mean, the last one you pick at 76. Have you ever had that happen where you're able to kind of get that type of haul that really was a big boost for your board?
No, never I've ever had a player listed, I think 14th on our list or 14th or 15th that we got in the 3rd round like we did. Now, we're all going to know the story 3, 4, 5 years from now. But, you got to trust your scouts too. This is what these guys are pros at. They work all year for this purpose. And, our head amateur scout, Billy Soren, really was big on Boss. And so when we had the opportunity to trade up when he was still on the board, we felt, I always say if there's a player we really want, you got to do everything you can to try to either trade up or draft them. Just like the goalie we drafted at 20. Some people thought we took that too high, but we didn't have a pick until the 4th round. We really wanted this guy, and if I trade back 5 or 6 spots, maybe he's still there, but then if he falls right in front of you, then you're mad that you picked up a 4th round pick and lost your player. So that's why we stepped up. Everybody was 100% on this goalie. I went down the weekend before and interviewed him, watched him practice in Fort Lauderdale, along with our scouts. And we certainly wanted to add a top goalie into our mix. Goalies take a while. He's 18 years old. It's going to take him some while to get here, but that's okay. His development path will be good. He's actually just flew in town this morning. He's here, which is a good sign, and we'll continue to move forward.
Talking about Andreanov, Don, what is the, just so the fans understand, just 18, obviously, so just a kid, and you mentioned the long time. What is his contract situation in terms of best case scenario? When would he be over here? I know he has a KHL conflict, obviously.
Yeah, he's got a 5-year contract with an out potentially after year 4. Okay. So we think and he's going to play in the top league in Russia. It's certainly not the NHL, but it's a damn good league. So his development there, he'll be the number 1 guy as he was last year and playing in the men's league. It's a very good league. So we think that development is going to be real strong for him, and hopefully it will pan out for us in the future.
Don, defenseman Jackson Smith at 14. What did you like about his game? How does he fit in?
Well, today, defenseman, it's all about puck moving, right, and skating. And he's an elite skater, moves the puck, chips in, obviously, a lot of points offensively. But, the left in your own zone, we watch it with Werenski and Fabro playing together. The less time they spend in our zone, their offensive numbers are from point are good, but we look at it as zone possession time, and they spend almost 2-to-1 time in the offensive zone than they do in the defensive zone. And it's because they can move the puck and catch and join the rush. So that's when you look at a guy like Jackson that this is what he does. Now there's going to be a development period, of course, for him. But the one thing that he's got is he's got great hockey sense. He's a great skater, and he transports the puck well.
Don, you make the deal as well in terms of Coyle and Wood coming in here. Where do you see those two guys? Obviously, Wood packs the wood and started off to his career to a heck of a start, and hopefully gets a little bit of rejuvenation here. Where do those two guys fit in?
Yeah, Wood had an injury to start the year last year, and then kind of lost his spot, worked his way back in the lineup. But he's speed. He still has the speed, and he's a forechecker, and he likes to hit. And, we know that you need those type of players on your team to go out there, create a little hectic. He did score 17 goals one year. I don't see him scoring 17 goals, but I think he'll be a double-digit kind of guy. So we think he's going to be an impact player for us, whether he plays on the 3rd line or 4th line. Coyle was so important. First of all, we know this player very well. He's an outstanding person, a great leader, and he's a right-hand shot center, which we desperately needed. We were all lefty for the most part last year, and it caught up with us at times. Face-offs probably get overlooked a little bit in the league, but it's important to be able to control the puck. And if you have somebody that can win face-offs, particularly from the right side, that's a great way to start with the puck.
Don, free agency, of course, for our fans starts July 1st. No secrets need to be told here, my friend, but just in terms of your mindset going into free agency, what is it?
Well, it was key that we got Fabro locked up yesterday, and we still have Provolov that we'd love to bring back. We're still in talks up until midnight last night with his agent, trying to see if we can bring him back. He's a true pro. He wants to be here. We want him here. Just we got to agree on a number. Hopefully we get him signed. If we don't, then obviously we're talking about defense all the time. Making sure that we're covered back there. I think up front we're in pretty good shape. We may tweak around the edges there a little bit, but I think overall, the goal was to make sure we added a couple forwards that would be useful for us. We did that the draft.
Great stuff, Don. Thank you so much, and good luck the rest of the way in free agency. And this season will be here before we know it. Thanks for your time today.
Always a pleasure to be with you both. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
All right, there he goes, the great Don Waddell, general manager of your Columbus Blue Jays. It's been a hell of a start. First year in, and now away you go with that build towards something hopefully very, very big. Speaking of opting in, an iconic athlete does, but what does it mean? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life. And fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain interoffice emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I have been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron, guess what we're getting ready to celebrate?
America's birthday?
That's right. How did you guess?
Well, you're dressed like Yankee Doodle, and you're wearing a tri-corner hat, and you've got a snare drum.
Get Eco. G-E-T-E-C-O. Get Eco. They can really go. Get Eco. For your Cinco. Fix in a blinko. You'll think, oh, hooray. Get Eco. G-E-T-E-C-O. Get Eco. You'll be cool like snow. Get Eco. Like an ice Ringo. Puerto Rico. Get Eco today. Huh? What do you think?
Jerry, are you suggesting that Puerto Rico become the 51st state?
I could invent a brand new 51-star flag.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Have a safe 4th of July, everyone.
Common Man and Timmy talking to you about the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Our guys at Hollywood are pulling out all the stops for summertime fun, live bands, food trucks, and more fun on select Saturdays.
Are they still doing the all-you-can-eat ribs?
Oh, yes, ribs. Tuesdays and Thursdays in June at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
Join Penn Play Rewards and play up to $500 on us. Not Hollywood. Timmy and I are paying for it.
No, we're not. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Morning Juice, real football talk. Just 2 guys who aren't afraid to say what needs to be said.
And that's how she wrote.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Now streaming mornings on YouTube and 10 TV Plus. Attack and dominate.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are brought to you and sponsored proudly by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. LeBron James back to Cleveland? Reese?
In the most wild fantasy where the aprons aren't a thing and contracts, the money doesn't mean anything. And
Don't throw water on this, Reese. Come on. What? Simmons put together a package.
I saw. Boy, that's a lot of people. Boy, that's another. I forget who the third team in it was. It was probably Utah. They love being the facilitator. Nobody facilitates more 3-team deals in the history of the NBA, probably, than Utah. But there's no way. I mean, you completely nuke the Cavaliers roster to do that. And I think it might get you in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't see them beating any team in the West.
Real quick. Remember, no Tatum with Boston.
No, I understand where the East is right now and how this for Cleveland is their best opportunity.
It's got to be now, yeah.
I think you got to clear this with Lonzo Ball first. I mean, LeBron already run him out of one place. I don't know if we can have that again.
Well, so they gave Sam Merrill like $43 million over the weekend, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting it's an interesting spot. So the reason this all came up is because LeBron opted in to his contract, but he didn't do the normal year plus one. So he could have opted out and then done an extension for a year plus one, or he could have taken less so that the Lakers could have built their roster. His agent, Rich Paul, saying over the weekend he understands the Lakers are going in a bit of a different direction, and he wants to compete for championships. I think people look at the Lakers roster and they say, well, that's not a team that can go win a championship. But quite honestly, based on what I saw in Oklahoma City, who can? I mean, who's beating them anytime soon? Maybe if Halliburton, what an absolute tragedy that was. And by the way, a lot of people maybe saw that coming with the calf thing, and maybe people learned from that a little bit. But at the same time, there's really no stopping this OKC thing for a very, very long time. So while you would look at this and say, okay, Luka in his prime, LeBron, okay, that you should be able to hang. The reality is you're going to have to go through Oklahoma City. And so conversely, the Cavaliers' path is much, much easier to do. And the Cavaliers did make a move, Isaac Okoro to Chicago for Lonzo Ball. I think that leads most people to think Ty Jerome won't be back, Reese. Is that kind of the read on that?
I thought it meant the opposite. I think Lonzo, they gave, Sam Merrill got $38 million. I think Ty Jerome's coming back.
So I had heard, Reese, over the weekend that was the case, that Jerome was asking for too much money and they were not going to be able to give him that. So that's what I had heard
I didn't see
the Lonzo Ball deal meant.
But I'm thrilled. If Ty Jerome's asking for money, it's like you can go get it somewhere else, man, because him and Okoro were no shows in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think they drafted Okoro pretty high. And so I think what Simmons does this all this time of year. He loves it. And so what he put together was LeBron to Cleveland, Darius Garland and fill in the blank to Utah, and then Walker Kessler and fill in the blank and other pieces to Los Angeles. And it's one of those things where it's hard for me to understand why the Lakers would add a bunch of depth pieces, but why they would be in a position to do it. I think if if LeBron's on Cleveland, what does that even look like? And I just don't see any scenario where Dan Gilbert would do that again, especially at this point. Like, he finally he's got this roster that's all together, and now they are over. You had mentioned the apron; they're over the second apron. So right now, did I read this right? That they would have to pay $250 million in luxury taxes. Did I read that right? As they're currently constructed, that sounds about right. I was trying to think of a way to explain that the second tax apron, like I'm 5, and I got nothing. They got to pay a ton of money in taxes because their contracts are really big. Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that Jeff Bezos knows all those people that were at his wedding? No. I think his wife did the invitations. He just signed the checks. People? I think she went down her Instagram following and saw who had the most and said, all right, they're getting invitations. How, in what world would Bezos and his now wife, Lauren Sanchez, who I think was a television presenter, and I want to say she was like a model, like a Playboy model and stuff. Do I have that right? Like years ago? I know she was an anchor in Los Angeles. She anchored news coverage.
And if you guys were listening to T-Bone and Tyvis today, she was Tony Gonzalez's ex. And Tony Gonzalez was at the wedding, like chatting it up and having a great time. The tight end? Yes. Like the Hall of Fame tight end? That was his wife? And obviously he's on the NFL coverage for Amazon Prime games. Well, yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I was looking at this, and obviously it was all over. Maybe I'm wrong on the Playboy side of thing. I could be wrong on that. I'm not even sure if the kids know what that is anymore. I shouldn't have thrown that out there. But whatever. I know that she was a model of some sort. And I was looking at this list of humans at this wedding, and I'm just thinking, like, how many of these people have they even met? Now, she would have been in NFL circles because of Tony Gonzalez, but, like, how would she possibly know all of the people that were at that thing? And then when that comes, when the invitation to the richest man or the second richest man in the world's wedding in Venice comes, you basically take over Venice. At what point, what is the threshold for saying no? Who turned that down? I don't think anybody did. Gotta be a short list. I mean, gotta be a short list. That's the event that if you're one of those, people with a 1 million, 2 million Instagram followings, like, it's only just to go and be seen. Like, nuptials be damned. You're just there so people can take pictures of me and post them all over the place. I think the biggest thing that came from this wedding is Tom Brady smitten with Sydney Sweeney. Oh, baby. That's a connection. About time he catches a break. Finally, yeah, good for him. 6th-round draft pick, like, really couldn't get it together in the NFL. Kicked forever. Just finally. Has such a hard time with females. It's fine. That's well, I don't blame. I mean, God bless him. God bless. What are you going to do? Young love. You wouldn't say no, right? I mean, he's my age. So, to answer your question, Bake, you wouldn't say no? No. No, I would not. I would not say no. You think Belichick is calling him, rubbing it in like mine's younger? Jeez. Yeah. That was a hell of a scene over the weekend. The nuptials from that, and that was probably the most A-list amount of human beings in Venice ever, all at one time. It was everybody. Everybody who was anybody was there over the weekend. What did I miss? I've had the fellows put together some of their favorite stories of the last week, so we'll play a little What Bo Missed coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
T-Bone and Tyvis are everything you want in a delicious breakfast. Lots of empty calories, no nutritional value.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops.
We all scream for ice cream.
The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere.
It's in my eyes.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
Double your savings with Logan Services. Save up to $3,200 on a qualifying air conditioning and heating system. And ask about tax credits up to $3,200. Call for your free estimate now. Logan Services.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get it Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hi, this is Bob Mashetter from Dick Mashetter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at MashetterFord.net. Thanks.
I lost my brother.
I lost my sister.
I lost my best friend.
Each year, Ohio loses some of its best and brightest to train car accidents.
Everyone knows that crossing is bad.
Stop signs and crossbucks just aren't enough. How can you help? Report bad crossings at angelsontrack.org. That's angelsontrack.org. Because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and this station.
At United Dairy Farmers, Peach is our most popular ice cream. Although it's only here for a short time, we sell more of it than any other flavor. And once you taste it, you'll know why it wins the popularity contest. We make it from scratch by mixing in the juice from our hand-selected peaches and big chunks of fruit. That's what gives it that unique peachier flavor. And that might also explain why peach season at UDF doesn't last long. UDF Peach Ice Cream, made for you.
The champs are back. Ohio State football returns to the Shoe this fall with powerhouse matchups against Texas, Penn State, and more. Your Buckeye Saturdays begin at ohiostatebuckeyes.com, where you can grab single game tickets that are on sale now. Gear up and get ready for game day.
Come into your local AAA Tire and Auto Service and save up to $30 on auto repair with their AAA Triple Play. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer valid July 1st through July 31st. See store for details.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sports book for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Columbus Crew pushed their win streak to 3 matches last night with a 1-0 win over the Philadelphia Union at Lower.com Field. Crew are also without a home loss on the season. Mo Farsi scored the lone goal of the game in first half stoppage time. Columbus improves to 10-7-3 on the season. Their 37 points is good for 4th in the East. Black and gold are only 3 points back of first place Philadelphia. In the NHL, free agency begins Tuesday. The Blue Jackets locked up Dante Fabro with a 4-year extension yesterday. It's worth $16.5 million. The 27-year-old defenseman scored 9 goals and had 26 assists on the season. In baseball, the Reds took the rubber match with the Padres on Sunday 3-2. Will Benson walked it off with an RBI single after Spencer Steer tied things in the ninth with a single of his own. Cincinnati plays in Boston tonight against the Red Sox at 7:10. You can hear that game on The Fan following the Buckeye Show and breaking sports news when it happens, all on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, near-death horse experience for me 2 days ago. Yeah.
Is it really a trip out west, though, without a near-death experience for someone?
The Pops is getting old, man. He's just getting, God bless him. He's almost 77. It's just getting to be a lot. And he's still tough as nails, but God, we're getting there. You can feel it. He did buy a buggy. Yeah, like an Old West buggy, like something to drive around in 1886. And he trained one of his horses to pull it.
That's awesome.
Well, I don't know if it's awesome, but it's something.
It's awesome in theory.
So he goes out and he goes, "Come here, I want to show you something." And I go down to the barn, and sure enough, he's got a black buggy. And he goes, "You want to take a ride?" All right, I'm in. Let's go. So he hooked him up, and away we went. So more tales from the Great West, including the near-death experience. What do you guys think was the one story that I would have loved the most last week when I was out that I missed?
I feel like it's Burt Bielema going after everyone on the Triple Option podcast.
Okay, so I missed all of this. This is all new to me.
So he joined Urban. He joined, trying to remember who's on that podcast, but
Mark Ingram, Rob Stone.
Rob Stone is the host. They talked about a bunch of things, and then it got to, they talked about a lot of things not on the football field because they're still trying to figure out what to do with college sports because July 1 is tomorrow. And they've yet to really do anything. Like they've yet to concrete with any decision making. It's all just been can kicking. Mm-hmm. And again, tomorrow, July 1. And so Brett was talking about that, giving his opinion on the transfer portal. And then Mark Ingram did ask him a question about the running back room. And so Brett had this to say.
We did lose a guy to Georgia. Somehow he found his way to the portal, and 12 hours after being in the portal, he was on a flight to Georgia. I don't know how that happened, but it's crazy.
Weird how that happened.
But wish Josh and all the best. He took advantage of that opportunity. So
that was Josh McCray he was talking about, and somehow finding his way into Georgia after the transfer portal opened. And then when we had Paul Feinbaum on Thursday, Baker asked him about Bielema throwing some shade at Kirby Smart.
And I'm getting entertained by Brett Bielema. So about a couple of weeks ago, he was coming after the SEC broadly. Now he's coming after Kirby Smart. Knowing Brett Bielema for a long time, the only thing that surprised me is understanding his voracious appetite, and he didn't bite the microphone and try to swallow it because he doesn't seem to mind running his mouth. I would suggest maybe to Brett, worry about he had a good season last year by Illinois standards, but that means plus 500. I would worry more about maybe being successful on the football field so he doesn't get fired there like he did at Arkansas, as opposed to running his mouth and making allegations that there is no chance in the world he can back up.
Okay, so when I pitched when the boys played baseball and they were little and it was coach pitch, especially when they were like 5-6 years old, I would get down on one knee and I would probably about 12 feet from the plate, and I would kind of almost like darts, and I would kind of just place it for them to just hit, you show me your swing and I'm going to, and especially the kids who maybe struggle a little bit, you show me your swing and I'm going to throw the ball right where you're swinging and the bat will hit it. That's what you just did with Feinbaum. That's a beautiful job. That's a big fat one for him to just hit the hell out of. My favorite part of all of that, other than Feinbaum going at Bielema, which, by the way, all of that wins for us. This is why I want Bielema, why I wanted him to never leave Wisconsin. I love Bielema. You know why you love him? Because you love to hate him. He's the perfect foil. I don't know how much he can do at Illinois. I don't. For example, if Brett Bielema were currently at Nebraska, would they have lost running back Josh McCray? maybe not, because maybe they could have written a check and they could have kept him there. But at Illinois, it's a little bit different threshold unless they get Shad Khan involved, and maybe he's deciding that he wants Illinois football to be great. I don't know. Fish and Shad Khan, they can organize the NIL at Illinois. My favorite part, though, was Bielema talking about Georgia tampering, and then at the end of that bite, he goes, but we wish Josh all the best. Like, I'm happy for Josh for taking advantage, like, because he has to. But you can't be a coach who's known as, like, taking shots at players, because the players have all the power in that sport right now. They control everything. There is no way you can even discipline them. There's no way that you can keep them in line. You provide them structure, but if you push too far, they can just bounce. So at the end of this, where he's, doing this tongue-in-cheek thing with Kirby, I don't know how they found out, so forth and so on, which is, at the end of it, he's got to say, but we wish Josh all the best, because he can't have it on his resume that he's beefing with players.
It's interesting that Feinbaum, and it's easy to take shots at Bielema for what happened at Arkansas, because it wasn't a fit and it didn't work. But Bielema in the Big Ten works. Like, he's a good coach in the Big Ten, and he has had a good track record. And it's easy to say, Illinois plus 500. Illinois was 9-3 in the regular season, then beat South Carolina in their bowl game to finish 10-3. If that was Alabama, the SEC would be screaming for them to be into the playoff. So it's easy. It's easy to take shots.
For Kings of the North? I think you just did it. I mean, you're right, though.
I think it's funny, though,
right.
that
it's 100% right.
So easy to do.
It is 100% right. Everything you just said is correct. If 10-3, I mean, hell, didn't they just beat South Carolina in the bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at all the buzz around South Carolina. Illinois beat them. And they beat them.
And listen, Bo, you know how bullish I am on Clemson this year. The second thing I'm bullish on is Illinois is getting in the playoff this year, because their schedule is cake. They return their quarterback. They return their whole offensive line. And Bielema loves, despite losing McCray, he loves their running back room. He says it's as good as his Wisconsin room with Monty Ball. And I can't remember the other running back off the top of my head that was in that room with him. And Melvin Gordon was a freshman that year.
James White, maybe?
Might be, or Moss. But anyway, he loves this running back room.
Well, to your point on the over, the schedule's nice. The schedule's very nice. It's Western Illinois, it's at Duke, it's Western Michigan, it's at Indiana, USC at home, at Purdue, Ohio State at home, at Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. So I'm not sure what their over is, but
it's 7.5.
Yeah, they'll blitz.
I think when we all picked some fun college football futures, we all had Illinois on the over there.
Yes.
And they have a chance in the last month of the season to make some style points up, because they could bulldoze Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Northwestern in 4 consecutive weeks.
Could Illinois be more than I think is possible? I mean, I just mentioned Shad Khan. He's an alumnus. Is there a path? I mean, I've been over there a lot, and I poke fun at it, but the times that I've been over there have been in November, and the weather has been brutal, and like it is in most of the part of the operations in this footprint. It's gray, it's windy. It feels like the wind really blows there, but their facilities are pretty damn good. Their stadium's really cool. Their proximity to talent is decent. It's not elite, but it's decent. But in this day and age, where if you have a booster contingent that is mobilized and ready, why not Illinois? Not to the level of this. But could Illinois get to the point? Let's do this part of it. Let me ask you guys this question. Could Illinois get to where he had Wisconsin? If you were to bet a futures on Illinois or Wisconsin, Illinois with Bielema, Wisconsin with Fickle, who you got?
That's exactly what I was just thinking as you were going through that question, Bo.
Yeah.
I don't see why they can't be Wisconsin when Bielema was there.
So Illinois avoids Penn State and Oregon this season.
And Michigan.
And Michigan. No Iowa. I mean, those are the top teams in the conference. They have Ohio State, but they're hosting the Buckeyes.
But big picture, why can't they be not apex? I don't know if there's so many factors that were apex Wisconsin under Bielema. So much of it had to do with It happened right as Tailgate was happening here. Michigan was down, way down. Penn State had the Sandusky stuff. So the Big Ten was as approachable, I think is the word I would use. It was as approachable for anybody else to take as it has ever been. Was in that late aughts, early teens. That was as approachable as it's been for somebody to make a run, and that's when Bielema took full advantage at Wisconsin and parlayed that into a big SEC contract at Arkansas. But could Illinois do that? Could Illinois be a perennial playoff team in the Big Ten if the NIL is organized? I mean, they've got one of the richest. I mean, if Kahn decided, if he gave him $50 million a year to spend on NIL, what's that for him? That's in the seat cushion of a yacht. It's not impossible. And I think he's great. I don't think he's good. I think he's great. And I do think he's going to win there. And I think they are. I'm with you, Bake. I think they're making the playoff.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best bets on the board right now at 5-1 is Illinois in the playoff. There's no reason they cannot have a one-loss season this year.
No. At worst, they're going to go 10-2. Feels like it. Some other news around the college football world and some other things to keep up on of some other issues that I missed coming up. Among those, Jim Harbaugh added to another lawsuit at Michigan. When, if ever, will the guillotine fall on that situation up there? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double. Check it. Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly. Check it.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer are a great way to stock up on all your 4th of July celebration supplies. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more when you mix or match hundreds of items, like 24 packs of select Coca-Cola and Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. Oscar Mayer Classic Beef Franks, Kraft Shredded or Chunk Cheese, Dole Chopped or Premium Salad Kits, and Dixie Family Pack plates, bowls, or hot cups. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. That's the good life. A good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
At United Dairy Farmers, Peach is our most popular ice cream. Although it's only here for a short time, we sell more of it than any other flavor. And once you taste it, you'll know why it wins the popularity contest. We make it from scratch by mixing in the juice from our hand-selected peaches and big chunks of fruit. That's what gives it that unique peachier flavor. And that might also explain why peach season at UDF doesn't last long. UDF Peach Ice Cream, made for you.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
when people live to be 40. You only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
As we celebrate Independence Day this week, we need to celebrate and protect our students' freedom to learn. Public education is the foundation of a strong democracy. When we remember our American history, both the good and the bad, our students grow as critical thinkers who can write themselves into the history books of tomorrow.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of showers and thunderstorms very similar to the last several days into the afternoon and early evening, some which could be on the stronger side. Afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s and still muggy conditions. For tonight, we'll see chances of showers and storms and early lows down into the 70s. And for Tuesday, the best chances for showers and storms will be the first half of the day and our highs in the mid to upper 80s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Buckeye games have been airing on WBNS since before you were born and before your parents were born and before Abraham Lincoln was born. Trust me, your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Troy, loyal listener Troy with this. Wisconsin Trio's best performance. This was in the Big Ten championship game against Nebraska. Nebraska was 10-2 coming into the game. Wisconsin was 7-5 going into the game. Wisconsin won the game. This is a Big Ten championship, by the way. 7-5 versus 10-2. So Ohio State and obviously Penn State were ineligible. This had to be 12. 70-31 is the final. Wisconsin wins. Melvin Gordon, 9 carries, 216. Monty Ball, 21 carries, 202. James White, 15 carries, 109.
Whoa.
Jeez.
That's decent.
That's getting out. That's an aggressive line. That's an aggressive line out of that. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you could. Maybe you could pull it off. I don't know why I don't know why Illinois. And Illinois, by the way, we finalized the list, 20 most interesting, and we'll get that rolling next week. But Illinois is on it. Bielema is on
it. I just love Bielema being back and all this stuff last week. Gosh, it's just so. It's like having Lane Kiffin here almost.
Oh my God. It's just we have been dealt. We're dealing with the steady diet of the James Franklins of the world, and we just missed a window where we had Harbaugh, Bielema, and if you just had somebody at Penn State who had a pulse, then boy, this would be fun. It'd be so fun if they had one. I'm interested to see what Shamar Moore can do at Michigan in terms of that.
We need Cignetti.
I'm not sure what he'll be like.
We need Cignetti to keep Indiana going, too. He seems to be fine in that role.
He's ready. Yeah, he's ready.
It's the thing with these programs, like they can't afford a drop-off. Because if Cignetti goes, from what they did last year, 8-1 in the conference to 3-5, then it doesn't, or 3-6, it doesn't matter. Then you're basically kicked into a chasm. And same thing with, like, Brett's teetering here. Not to say that I think he'll fall off, but if Illinois is irrelevant, then does it matter anymore?
I think you're right. And the one thing that when you run into people, and we were playing golf at the Coeur d'Alene with the floating green course there, and the caddy, is what do you do for a living? And I said, and he was asking me questions about what the sport's all about and what's going on and all this. He goes, the caddy went to Boise State. And we talked a little about Ashton Genty, and we talked a little bit about, his season and Boise State kind of going for it. And boy, they were really thinking Malachi Nelson would be the guy there, and former number one quarterback prospect in the country, so forth and so on. And I said to him, I think probably, and this speaks to your point, Reese, about Cignetti in Illinois and all of it. for some of these places, and we'll talk about this with Austin in about 10 minutes, you kind of load up for one, see how it goes, and then see if you can, does that mean that same booster group fires back in and engages and goes, oh yeah, watch what we do, right? Is that what happens? Or is it like, hey, we've done it, we're good? Because the Cignetti thing, so much of that was the transfers that he brought with him.
Yeah.
Was so much of it. Now, they were aggressive. They got the quarterback. They paid a lot for that and got him rolling. And so I think for a lot of these places, like, do you go all in for a year and see how it goes, then sit it out for a couple of years? I think Florida State did that, right? 2 years ago, they went all in. And then they didn't have any money last year, and they fell off a cliff. So can you build it back up in a year-to-year basis? That will be the test for a lot of these places.
Because with Sharon, I mean, they get a $10.5 million quarterback, and if he's not, it would, to me, be catastrophic if he didn't start. Like, you did something very wrong in either your identification of him as a talent or your development of him as a college-ready quarterback.
I don't think that's a good business decision in any way.
Then does that drive off?
So they did that I think they did it for perception, so they had like a recruiting win. But how could he ever live up to that salary? He's a freshman. He played high school football in Michigan. How could he possibly justify that?
And then if it's not great, or did they dry up that well? Or the Oracle guy's like, no, I'm not giving you idiots money anymore.
Right. Do you have a pot, and you have to determine where that pot of gold, how that pie is going to be.
I was about to say, you could say pot, but a better analogy, I think, would be pie. Nobody uses it in sport, and I really think it's something we could utilize here with how college football is going to go into revenue sharing tomorrow. Everybody's now got this pie. Pretty simple, right?
I think you're right. I think it is a pie, and I think for some places, it's how much of the pie can you dole out on a year-to-year basis, and are you ready to bake another pie?
Big fans of pie on this show.
Boy,
well, it's the week we're celebrating America.
Little huckleberry pie's a win, boys. We don't have huckleberries out here. Out west, they're big huckleberries. Have you guys ever had a huckleberry?
Nope.
Only thing I know is the line from that movie. I'll be your huckleberry.
I'm your huckleberry. Yeah, no, you drop off at the airport, being Spokane, Washington, or Great Falls, Montana, they'll sling you some huckleberries. But yeah, so I do think that's kind of where we are, where you're an all-in, truly in a year-to-year basis. And by the way, I don't even think that's necessarily an Illinois problem. I think that could be an Ohio State problem. I think it could be an Alabama problem. I think it could be a Georgia problem. I think it could be everybody. I think there's incredible donor fatigue right now. Incredible donor fatigue. And I think it's tough. It's hard at places like this. You mentioned Cignetti. If you're an Indiana booster, and they've got good boosters, right? What do you want? You want your basketball program to win a national title for the first time since, 87? Or do you want your football team to make the playoff? I mean, that's how much money is there to go around? And it's all being paid out of pocket. None of it's being paid by these schools. And nothing's going to change July 1st either. We'll get into that a little bit later. I did see that Jim Harbaugh's name was added to another lawsuit, along with Athletic Director Ward Manuel and former President Santa Ono were also added to this lawsuit. This is the one about the hacking the computers, right?
Yeah, it's that computer pervert, Matt Weiss.
Yeah.
Like 11 students have filed a class action lawsuit against him, and now Michigan men are being added.
How filthy was that program under Harbaugh the last 4 or 5 years? How desperate
Are you asking how deep it went?
How deep did it go, man? Like, my God. He reached a point with the losses. He couldn't take it clearly couldn't take it anymore. He tried like heck to get out of there at every opportunity that he could. And then he just bent and bent. I mean, there's just so much overwhelming proof of all of the various things that he did while he was there. And he Danny Oceaned it. You're never going to get the pound of flesh out of him. But what a mess he left behind there. And I don't know if Sharon Moore can withstand it.
And it was this Matt Weiss thing that started the whole Connor Stallions investigation, because the FBI was looking into this guy and the creep that he was, and they're like, hey, we came across some videos that you guys might want to see here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've admitted to some wrongdoing in that Stallions sign-stealing scandal business because their coach isn't being suspended for 2 games this upcoming season for just existing.
And are we going to get resolution on that one? That's the one that's in 30 to 90 days, right? Like
30 to 90 days, like 60 days ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was like in May when it was like, okay, we're going to come to findings on this in the next 30 to 90 days. Well, we're in the window, kids. It could happen at any time. But I just don't. I know a lot of people think that the axe is going to fall. I just don't know how it could, and I don't know how punitive it can be.
I've yet to. I don't think anybody's got an answer to this question. But if on July 1st, tomorrow, the College Sports Commission starts to take something, they go into effect, or whatever that is, are they the enforcement arm now of this?
Not of this, right, Reese? Because this predates them, I would assume. And by the way, they're going to have their own problems. Are they going to have subpoena power?
Urban said he seemed to think so. But again, it goes back to can you at least solve one problem quickly? Because they're spending all this time talking about all these issues, and they've done nothing of substance. They just keep kicking the can. They keep having continuous discussions, and we are speeding now towards July. We're there, and you've got nothing but more questions.
Yeah, I have no simple answer to that. But my hunch is that it's going to be exactly as it's been. And I don't think a damn thing's going to change. I really don't.
I don't either. I love Nicole Auerbach's article last week where she talked about, hey, the college football playoff is fine. Why don't we put off talking about expanding that until we can get these other things figured out? But more college football games means more money, so let's worry about that first and just continue to punt on all of these other things.
You answered that's exactly why. Because they have to find money. And the easiest way to find money is to play more games. And that's what keeps all the rest of the sports operating. But in the meantime, football continues to be just completely... I'm going to tell you something. You thought it was lawless 2 years ago? That's nothing compared to what's going on right now. Austin knows this. I know it. You guys know it. We'll have a little conversation with Austin in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double. Check it. Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly.
Check it. I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
At United Dairy Farmers, peach is our most popular ice cream. And once you taste it, you'll know why. Right now, get 2 48-ounce cartons of UDF peach ice cream for $10. It's only here for a short time. UDF peach ice cream, made for you.
Colin Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain interoffice emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's He's Austin Ward.
Indeed he is, and he joins on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. The Beat with Austin and Berm on 10 TV Plus and YouTube. You can seek that out there. My friend, it is good to talk to you. How would you best describe what is happening in roster building in college football at the moment?
Welcome back from vacation. Let's dive right into it, right, Bo? I mean, that's
a big one.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel quite as extreme as 5 years ago, but there is some of this going on where there's just this state of flux. We're heading towards an NFL model, and like fully from top to bottom. And I think Ohio State is ready to put that fully into practice, and they're also involved in setting the rules of engagement and the punishments and penalties with the College Sports Commission and Ross Bjork being involved in all of that. But I think the issue when you look at what's happening right now, heading into July 1 and the start of this next new era, is that they're beginning it without those rules and penalties and repercussions being in place. So this is similar in that way that you take this big picture look at it, and there are going to be people pushing the envelope in a way that Ohio State will not. And that's, I think if you look back to the way that this transpired, the previous iteration, you had the Texas A&Ms of the world, the Miamis of the world, Michigan States of the world, throwing around money and then not being necessarily able to pay those bills. And they had short-term boosts of adrenaline and then long-term pain and a really bad hangover from that because they weren't able to sustain that. So Ohio State is already operating, I feel like, under this next NFL-style model and spending not judiciously, not conservatively, not pinching pennies, just like, well, this is what the amount is going to be, and we can't write a check if there's not money in the account. And other people are not operating that way currently, which I think is why there's so much uncertainty about what's the right way, how is this going to be done, what's the future look like. Ohio State was, I think, benefited greatly from the way that it approached it last time with a long-term vision. And so when you say, what does this look like for roster building? For Ohio State, you're just copying and pasting the NFL, in my opinion. But everywhere else is like in a bit of a spending frenzy. Well, not everywhere else. A number of places are. And I think that is making it confusing for people to look at what's happening with the recruiting and the transfer portal at this exact moment, because Ohio State, which last year everyone was talking about how much money they were throwing around, and they were buying an all-star team. And, why aren't they doing that again? Well, they're resetting for the future in a way that other programs, at least currently, are not.
And Ohio State's approach, and I don't, just so the fans understand, like if you're Ohio State and some recruit is out there saying I need X amount and it's greater than what Jeremiah Smith makes, well, that ain't going to fly. No. And some of that stuff is happening. So their approach has always been, you come here, we'll take care of you. The problem, though, is everyone can feel this pinch coming. By the way, Austin, I don't think it's going to do anything. Nothing. I don't think it's going to be enforceable. I don't think it's going to do anything. I think the booster funds are going to be where it's going to be. So these other folks are saying, well, we're going to pay you up front now to sign here because that's what matters most to us. And this is the spot that you're in.
And that's the part where many of these other programs got into trouble. Mm-hmm. I think most specifically at Texas A&M and a handful of recruiting battles against Ohio State, but also other programs around the country. And after that first year, those players that were promised this amount of money, which is the issue, and it goes back to something that you and I talk about pretty much every Monday, which is collective bargaining and employment status and contracts. Until those are actually in place and enforceable, both of those things have to be remembered, which is also why the Wisconsin-Miami case is so critical. That would take another, the rest of this show to dive into why that's so important. But, Ohio State has not been in a situation, to the best of my knowledge and to the best of the transfer portal activity, where it has made a financial promise that it could not fulfill. Now, maybe that happened. I can't say that definitively, but to the best of my knowledge, that hasn't. And I know that has in other recruiting battles that they have lost with players that went somewhere under the guarantee, quote unquote, of money and it not being paid out. And then suddenly you're in a new spot where you have to go somewhere else. And then do you want to go back to Ohio State and be like, you know what, you were right. You told me that this amount of money probably wasn't real. Please take me back. And like, not every case, if your recruitment came down to the money, does Ohio State believe or have reason to believe that you are invested in the development and the brotherhood that are in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center? So like that's sort of the catch-22 here. And the Buckeyes are they're still winning more than their share of recruiting battles. And most of the time their message resonates with the kind of people they want. And I know that sounds like grabbing for a silver lining or justifying just whatever Ohio State is doing. And if that's if there are people that are frustrated in the short term, and that includes people in the football program, like I totally understand that part. But this approach has, by and large, won out in the long run. It does take a little bit of patience. It does sometimes cause a little bit of short-term discomfort. In the long run, I feel like it is probably what's best. And the other part of that is, aside from standing by your word and fulfilling your obligations the way that Ohio State has, if you are going to throw your weight around nationally, which I think that Ross Bjork and Ohio State are doing in a level that maybe they didn't 5 or 6 years ago, if you're going to be involved in setting the rules on the one hand, then on the other hand, you can't be breaking them at the same time. So I understand the approach that they're taking and why they're taking it. And it tends to work out in their favor because once the rules are clear, I don't think that there's anyone better at finding the best way to maximize them than Ohio State. That's proven itself out in this previous iteration.
No, you nailed it. Once the rules are in place and they're enforceable, they have to be enforceable. Once that's the case, well, then you have a chance. But I don't think that this booster thing's ever going to change because you mentioned an NFL model. You mentioned an NFL model. The NFL doesn't restrict what a player can make off the field. So that part we're there now with that. That's never going to change. If you ask coaches, and I know you have and I have, the big thing they're worried about is how do you coach a kid in these circumstances? How do you hold them accountable? How do you I'll ask you, how do you? Because most people say it's hard. It's almost impossible to.
Yeah. I mean, I sound like a broken record because the answer are contractual terms. And, I wanted Ross Bjork to talk about that, publicly with some of the things that, I know are issues with state laws and employment status, but until college administrators and presidents and universities across the country wrap their arms around a way to get those contracts done and enforceable, then all this stuff will continue. I actually believe, I think we were talking, a lot, but 3 weeks ago was like, well, the first time the NIL Go is challenged and that gets struck down, then this whole model blows up. Yeah. I talked to people, not just Ross Bjork, but, compliance people, multiple compliance people, and they're like, well, there's actually more teeth to the rules and legislation because this is coming from a federal lawsuit. And I scoffed at that initially, and we'll see what happens both with Wisconsin, Miami here, which is, here's the other part, because if Miami wins that, then anything I say is going to be thrown in the trash because players will just go in the transfer portal whenever they want. I think that is a critical case that has to be played out, which if Wisconsin wins, which clearly the Big Ten is invested in this, not just because it's a member institution, but I think for the sake of sanity in college football moving forward, Wisconsin has to win this case because then that validates that the contracts are enforceable. And that's the other part, though. What if the players have to earn their money, both from sponsorship opportunities or whatever, booster funds, or more specifically, revenue sharing with schools, well, then you have to fulfill that into the deal. So this is a really critical piece. Like you look at Wisconsin and Miami and say, well, tampering, you can't stop that part. Oh, that's not the key here. It is this contract enforceable for revenue sharing? And if it is, then everybody gets back at least some shred of normalcy, and you have a path forward to a thing that we talk about all the time, which is employment or collective bargain.
Yeah, they have got to find a way to booster inducement. Yes, I'll take the money. Now I'm responsible for living up to my end of the bargain. That's right. That's where this whole thing is. I got to tell you, buddy, I would pull back in recruit. I know that Buckeye fan doesn't want to hear this. I would not get into bidding war and recruiting. I would just wait a year.
No shit.
You spend $10.5 million on DJ Underwood. Who knows what comes of that? Or these offensive tackles? I wouldn't get into that world. Forget it. Take it. Well, no. I'll wait till December and I'll get them in the portal.
Yeah, and I think, and that applies both to current recruits and like whatever else is in the portal market in the window. So, and I think there was also, we think back to 5 years ago at the start of this NIL and transfer portal market saga, we were saying the same thing. Why isn't Ohio State being more aggressive? Why aren't they spending more money in the portal? Because you didn't know, you didn't have protocol in place, that you didn't have a staff that was evaluating every single player in college football the way Ohio State has now been doing over the last couple of years, so that once that need arises on their roster, they can go target and land the very best player available to them, which again they did this cycle. So it feels like, well, Ohio State is dragging its feet. It's not being aggressive enough. No, we've been through this before, multiple iterations, not just recruiting, but through the transfer portal. And until their way stops working, they've more than earned the benefit of the doubt. That's why that trophy is in the lobby right now, and it's covered in gold.
Yes, it is. Well said, my friend. As always, good hearing from your voice again. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds great, Bo. See you.
All right, there he goes. Austin Ward, The Beat with Austin Berm, 10TV Plus and YouTube, wherever you get those things. We'll hit a little thing or not a thing, including a blockbuster in the National Football League. It's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
He shoots, he scores! No matter your sport, it's a great time of year to be a fan. But the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. At Maryhaven, we're here to help. Whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, or mental health, you don't have to go it alone. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven meets you where you are. Always judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double.
Check it.
Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly.
Check it.
Join Timmy Hall for Buckeye Replay Saturday at 1. Classic games in Ohio State football history.
Sponsored by Weber Grills.
This week, Ohio State Miami play for the title. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Common Man here. I want to talk to you about my buddy Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. It's rare that a business comes along and offers you such great quality, service, price. If you or someone you love or like, or even strangers on the street tell you they need a jeweler, tell them you got a guy, and that guy is Bob Capace at Worthington Jewelers.
I'm Bob Capace, and I'm your guy.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com, where Columbus gets engaged.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH. That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Massive blockbuster move in the National Football League. The AFC North gets tougher. The Steelers finalizing a blockbuster deal that sends all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey to Pittsburgh. Good grief. As Brooke Pryor said, she's been on with us several times, very un-Steelers-like offseason, but this is as all-in as you can get. And that defense, because they got Slay earlier, didn't they? Don't they have him too? I think they got Darius Slay too. They got him, then Ramsey today. Obviously Rodgers and Metcalf, man, it's combustible, but it's damn sure interesting, and they're a lot better than they were a year ago, fellas.
I mean, that harkens back to some of the personalities that are in Steelers locker rooms of yesteryear when they were competing for AFC championships. Those are personalities like Ben and Hines Ward and Troy Polamalu, a little more volatile for the 2025 edition, but still big personalities, huge playmakers, and a pretty terrifying defense that will include TJ Watt in the fold sometime before training camp.
Yeah, they got that deal done over the weekend as well.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to put many points on the board this year, I don't think, for them, because if Aaron Rodgers can average 20 points a game, I think they're going to win a lot.
How about that division? My God.
3 pretty good teams and the Cleveland Browns.
That's just absolutely brutal. All right, let's hit thing or not a thing.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
All right, on Sunday, the Salt Lake Tribune reported that BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff is anticipating a 7-game suspension for violating the school's honor code. The report adds, quote, facing the prospect of missing more than half the 2025 season, Retzlaff has begun telling his coaches and teammates he's likely to leave the program. In a civil lawsuit filed in May, Retzlaff was accused of sexually assaulting a woman at his Provo home in November of 2023. Retzlaff denied the sexual assault allegations, saying that the sex was consensual. For those unaware, BYU is operated by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It enforces an honor code that sets guidelines that employees and students are expected to follow. Among those, prohibiting premarital sex, instructing students to live a chaste and virtuous life. Thing or not a thing?
Yeah. All right. I'll stay away from the sexual assault allegations because I don't know enough about it, and there's no win for me digging in on that at all. The thing that, so it's obvious all of this is a thing. From a football perspective, I think this will be very difficult for him to find a home because the past is, because this accusation is out there, fair or not. And we have no idea. These are one of the hardest things to ever prove one way or the other on this. But I understand him trying to get out. That part about the code prohibiting premarital sex, he's already acknowledged that. So he's going to be suspended for that regardless. But I think finding a new landing spot is going to be very, very difficult for him. And obviously he's got a lot on his plate at the moment. But that was from a football perspective, BYU was a very good football program a year ago. They would have been a very good program with Jake Retzlaff this year again. And now that's in a state of flux, and so too is his career, both on the field and off.
It still amazes me that with everything we know about his career and what happened after his time at BYU, that Jim McMahon was able to stay at BYU and have a college career. That is still crazy and insane to me. I think it's very likely that it's a lot of don't ask, don't tell on the premarital sex stuff. There is my guess is how I would guess so, especially nowadays. But this is a thing because BYU was a team that was, I believe, supposed to challenge for the Big 12 again this year and be a team that could possibly make the college football playoff. And that's tough to do without your quarterback. This is also a thing because they seem to have a pretty good quarterback plan in place. They got, I believe his name was Ryder Lyons, one of the top quarterbacks in the country this past couple weeks. And although I think he said he was going to delay his start to his college career a year because he was going to go on a missionary tour, it seemed like they had a pretty good succession plan here at BYU with the quarterbacks. I think this kid will probably end up somewhere. I feel like a team like Sacramento State that's been trying to make a big move.
That's it.
And he'll end up at a school like that, and he'll probably do great as long as he's allowed to play. Hopefully these allegations are not true against him. But I think he'll end up at a place like that, and he'll probably do pretty good. And they are trying to make a mark, and he may do that for him.
This from Pete Thamel about a minute ago. Texas State Board of Regents approved the Sun Belt payment. It's about a $5 million exit fee. Texas State officials will execute that fee and sign the Pac-12 paperwork today. They will join a renewed Pac-12 that will include Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Oregon State and Washington State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Gonzaga as a non-football member. Thing or not a thing?
Where is Texas State located? Like
San Marcos, Texas.
Okay. I hope at some point we can reconfigure this.
George Strait's a famous alum.
Well, then they got money for NIL. I mean, out of the clear blue sky, you're gonna, that'll Amarillo by morning. Lots of wins for the king of country music. No, I have no idea. I mean, this is not a conference I'm going to take seriously. How could they be? I think they did the best they could with the circumstances that they were in. I will say when we flew into Spokane, I'd never been to Gonzaga, so we went to the campus. And I find that if you're on a college campus, if you just kind of walk emphatically, you can get almost into anywhere. And we walked all the way into the basketball arena and saw that. And it's pretty cool. But the idea that school and some of the other ones you mentioned, including this one, are going to try to compete at the highest level or whatever that is. And this obviously geographically makes no sense. So, but I guess Stanford and Cal are in the ACC. So what are we supposed to do with all this?
It's crazy that this grouping of schools has a better TV deal than the ACC.
Do they get more per year than the ACC does right now?
Well, I think they got CBS. So that's a better partner than the CW. I feel like. So
it probably is.
A little more exposure for them. Yeah, I don't think this is a thing. Texas Tech is not going to move the needle, and I don't know how the Pac-12 can be taken legitimately anymore, and I don't think it is.
Do you guys think if Stanford and Cal had it back, they would rather just stay?
Probably.
Yeah, you would think so.
And I wonder if UCLA, I mean, the money's going to be nice for UCLA, but like this travel is just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Bo, I know you've talked about it, but the one thing in all of this redoing of college football, and I hope we get to a place where we can set everything back regionally and geographically a little bit so these schools aren't traveling all over the place all the time. It almost seems like having the Pac-12 in the Big Ten, in the SEC, and the Big 12 all made sense.
Yeah, I think what the Big Ten should have done is they should have just taken all of the Pac-12 and just kept it the Pac-12.
A true East-West.
Split it East-West.
Yep.
That's what I would have done. You would have had all the inventory you want. We will blitz the weekend final hour on a Monday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Catch the latest from the world of Ohio State athletics. Weeknights at 6 on The Buckeye Show. New special guests in everything scarlet and gray. The Fan.
With over 33 years of experience, Newman Roofing has become a household name in Central Ohio. Voted best roofing company 4 years in a row, Newman Roofing delivers a white glove experience every time. When it comes to your roof, call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Hey, it's Austin Ward here. Did you jump into Awaken 180's Lose 40 by the 4th offer? If you did, wasn't it simple? People think losing weight has to be difficult, but it really isn't if you have the right plan, the right support, and if you're eating to lose weight. If you missed 40 by the 4th, no worries. There's plenty of summer left to hit your goals. Barbecues, golf, pool parties, all included with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Start today and start dropping weight your very first week. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking nitro thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Summer is officially here, and so are the rising temperatures. Before you know it, you'll be wondering what else you can do to keep cool during the dog days of summer. You want to beat the heat and keep the AC in your home? Get Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. During their semi-annual sale, you can buy 4 windows and get 4 windows free. Plus a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, and no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. So how exactly do they keep their prices affordable? It's a great question. Window Nation works directly with the top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. Plus, their windows come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Window Nation's semi-annual sale ends soon. So buy 4 windows, get 4 windows free, and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Once again, that number, 866-90-NATION, or go to their website, windownation.com.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Common Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Delaware County Veterans Services, here for those who served. Located on the ground floor of the historic courthouse in downtown Delaware, our team of veteran county veteran service officers is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Need a ride to a VA appointment, facing a financial emergency? Are you or your spouse simply looking for answers? Then give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment. Delaware County Veterans Services.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. NBA and NHL free agency begins tomorrow, but the NFL swooped in with some news Monday. The Steelers sent three-time All-Pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins in exchange for three-time All-Pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets signed Dante Fabro to a 4-year extension yesterday. The deal's worth $16.5 million. The 27-year-old defenseman scored 9 goals and had 29 assists last season, his first with the Blue Jackets. CBJ GM Don Waddell told Bo Bishop earlier this morning the team wants to lock up defenseman Ivan Provorov, adding the Jackets were in talks with his agent until midnight Sunday. In baseball, the Reds took the rubber match with the Padres on Sunday 3-2. Cincinnati's in Boston tonight versus the Red Sox at 7:10. Hear that game on The Fan following the Buckeyes show. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy's office at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
So you just heard the Handsome Update anchor there talk about that trade of Minkah. So it's Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins, Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers, and then on top of that, here in the last 2 minutes, the Steelers-Dolphins have a second trade where the Dolphins are trading tight end Jonnu Smith to the Steelers for a late-round pick swap. So the Steelers get Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith for Minkah Fitzpatrick and a pick swap is the way that all works out.
So when you put it that way, that sounds better. Ramsey for Fitzpatrick straight up. I don't know if I really love that. Fitzpatrick's a little younger, and I think he's a pretty good player. I know he's not a cornerback like Ramsey, but the Jonnu Smith move makes a lot of sense because he probably had his most success with Arthur Smith,
right,
who was their offensive coordinator. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so they're going to play a lot of two tight, and yeah, that's, man. We'll get into this at greater length coming up at 11:17 or thereabouts. Let's blitz the weekend.
Bishop and Friends present a Weekend Sports Blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations: Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, I believe I had that. What'd you have, Bake?
So I was locked into the UFC on Saturday night, and I believe I had that Ilia Topuria would win the lightweight heavyweight championship of the world, moving up from featherweight. He becomes the second youngest 2-division champ ever behind Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was like 28 years old in 21 days when he did it. Topuria, 28 years old and like 152 days old now. His last 3 fights, he has knocked out Alexander Volkanovski, the greatest featherweight in history, Max Holloway, the guy who was the greatest featherweight in history until Volk came around, and Charles Oliveira, a former light heavyweight championship. Topuria, 17-0 in his MMA career, 9-0 in the UFC. He's becoming one of the greats.
He did say all of that. I could confirm last week we weren't talking baseball. All of that he called on Thursday. I had the LeBron's not coming back to Cleveland. He opted.
Sure?
He's not coming back to Cleveland.
You sure?
He opted into the Lakers. His contract with the Lakers yesterday doesn't mean I guess he can't be on the move technically, but it's not happening.
I believe I had that you cannot do better than America when it comes to the beautiful towns and sites around this country. We were in Annapolis, Maryland a week ago Friday. I don't know that you can do a better small town, watery feel in the world than that. And then we were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho on Monday, and you can't do a better lake town than that. That's all in, and that's just two examples. But God, there's so many beautiful places in this country, folks. When people talk about going abroad, you don't need to. There's so much good here and so many beautiful spots, and we were lucky enough to see a couple of them. I did not have that. What did you not have, Bake?
I did not have the Blue Jackets making one pick Friday night, let alone both of those first-round picks. Now, I know that the guys they got are good, and, I hope they end up being big-time NHLers and part of the Blue Jackets' future. I just thought for sure those picks would be moved. It just goes to show you it takes two to tango, and the price has got to be right. That's one of the things I love about Don Waddell. He said it. We're not going to risk the future for right now.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that because I wrote down that I thought at least 20 would be sent for a player. And that doesn't mean the Jackets can't, do future draft picks to acquire players. Free agency starts tomorrow in the NHL, and players can, negotiate and deals can be reported today. But, yeah, the idea that Don was pretty steadfast on, I'm going to do a deal if it's the right one for this organization. And so I applaud him and his effort, and also for spending some time with us this morning.
Yeah, it was very kind of him. You can listen to that interview wherever you get your podcasts or certainly all over the social channels. I did not have how easy it would be to drive a pontoon boat. So I've driven boats a long time ago, and we've had jet skis for a while, and although don't now. And my wife said, well, I think we should rent a pontoon boat in Coeur d'Alene. And I said, yeah, I feel like I can figure that out. So I went down and talked to the guy, and I said, you're going to give me a little lesson, right, on how to do this? And he went through it, and it took about 12 seconds. So I said, okay, I guess I'll give it a go. It was so easy, and we had such a good time that inevitably that led to, Dad, can we get one? And the answer to that is no. You want to be friends with people who have boats. You want to rent boats. You don't want to own them unless you're threes and you grew up on one of the many lakes in Minnesota. And then, of course, by all means. Player who impressed, Bake.
I was lucky enough to get to see this live in person Friday night. Got some tickets and went down to the Reds game, watched them play the Padres. Nick Martinez took a no-hitter into the ninth inning, and Spencer Steer hit 3 home runs in that game, and they were all no-doubters as soon as he hit them. According to the Elias Sportsbook, it's the first time since 1961 at least that a team in the same game has had a pitcher take a no-hitter into the ninth inning and have one player hit 3 home runs. Had a great night Friday night, and glad I got to see that.
Very cool.
Impressed for me was the staff at the Kenny Road License Agency. So the Ohio BMV went in to get my registration renewed on Friday. 29 minutes. But you have to sign in online. Get in line online, and you'll save yourself a bunch of time. Part of me felt bad as you're sitting in the waiting area, and they're calling your numbers. And I had checked in online about 15 minutes before I arrived at the spot.
No.
And I jumped a lot of people who had been there, I think, a little bit earlier than I was and had kind of been waiting for a little longer, but you got to play the game.
Yes, you do. Player who impressed, the two bigs, NBC and Beamsy, standing on the tee of the 14th floating green at the Coeur d'Alene Resort. It's a crazy thing. Like, it truly is a motorboat that takes you over there after you hit your shot. It is truly a floating green, not an island green. It's a floating green. There's nowhere to walk over there. And both boys put it on their first shot. I think they both took 5s. Or maybe one was a 4, one was a 5, but they both got on, and it was very, very cool to see. So good job out of the fellas.
But did they get a certificate?
They did not. They did not, because they didn't make par. Par better gets you a certificate. So that's the way that goes. So good job out of the boys on that one. Player who, I don't know who got a certificate. I don't know how I would even know that. Player who disappointed. Go ahead, Beck.
To me, it's the Los Angeles Angels coaching staff. Yesterday, they're taking on the Washington Nationals, and they intentionally walked James Wood 4 times. Now, I know James Wood is a really good player, really good young player, and he's having a great season, but he's not Barry Bonds, and that's the last person that's happened to. It happened to Bonds actually 4 times, but 2004 was the last time this had happened. Barry Bonds, Manny Ramirez, Andre Dawson, Gary Templeton, and Roger Maris, the only other players that have been intentionally walked 4 times in a game. I'm glad the Angels lost that game 7-4.
Yeah, I'm just pretty disappointed in the Cleveland Guardians. 6 runs in 4 games.
Yeah.
Like, that's pathetic. I think it was like 21-6 was what the St. Louis Cardinals outscored them over the weekend. And then in the end of their series against the Blue Jays, like Jose Ramirez gets hit and you're not sprinting out there to throw some fisticuffs. Like, let's have some pride in your organization. Please?
I'm going to go me as player who disappointed. So after all the travels last night, the boys wanted to go to the club, play a little golf, so we did. We just played 9. I ended up taking, so it's me and Bootsy versus the 2 bigs. I ended up using Bootsy's drives on like half the holes. I could not get on. I just was hitting things all over the place. And luckily that little dude was just hitting them right down the middle. So from the tee boxes he's hitting them from, those were wins. So just a bad job out of me. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. What do you got, Bake?
To me, it's Dwayne Lucas, probably the second greatest horse trainer of my lifetime behind Bob Baffert. He passes away this weekend at the age of 89, I believe. He had 4 Derby winners in his career, 7 Preakness winners, 4 Belmonts. He's the oldest to ever win a Triple Crown race. He did that last season. 20 Breeder Cup wins. The first trainer to ever win a Triple Crown with 2 different horses. Sad day in the horse racing world.
And really one of the coolest guys ever. The sunglasses, the cowboy hat, all of it. Todd Pletcher, who's also a Hall of Fame jockey, was his apprentice. He's a massive figure in the horse racing industry, and my dad's favorite trainer as well. Go ahead, Reese.
Coach of the week for me, crew skipper Wilfried Nancy. Black and Gold beat the Philadelphia Union, the top team in the East last night, 1-0. They haven't lost a match at Lower.com Field all season, and they've won 3 straight. So it's a really good job out of him. And this team, despite losing Cucho in the offseason, has played really well through about the midway point of the MLS slate.
Yeah, they have. I'm going to go Caddy Landon at the Coeur d'Alene, who gave me and NBC a sand tip that paid instant dividends. So I felt a little bit like Kramer with his caddy, who was helping him with the. Although it did end up botching him, have her try on the bra. That didn't work out. But I did feel a little bit like that with. He did a great job caddying us around the place and gave us a great sand tip. So good job out of him. We have big news in the NFL. A couple of massive trades involving the AFC North. We will set the table on what it all means and what it means for that division, including the 2 teams in our fine state coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double. Check it. Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly.
Check it. Get summer blockbuster savings at Coughlin Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Right now, take up to $6,000 off MSRP on any new Kia in stock. Plus, get free maintenance for a full year when you buy. Get any new Kia with up to $6,000 off MSRP. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
Largest Kia dealer based on current ground stock at all 4 Coughlin Kia locations. 2025 Kia Sorento XY. MSRP $47,990. $3,000 Coughlin discount. $3,000 factory rebate. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N7725.
When it's time to ask life's biggest question, make sure your ring says it all. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar, and we've been helping couples say yes for over 78 years. From brilliant cuts to better prices, the quality and selection of our diamonds is unmatched. Because diamonds aren't just our business, they're our legacy. Visit us at Diamond Cellar on Selmo Road or Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondcellar.com. Bigger diamonds, better prices, guaranteed.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops. The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere. At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
This promo is for anyone who likes baseball or America or Terry Francona's scooter. The Reds are on the Fan. Catch all 162 games here on the Fan and 1460 ESPN Columbus and the Fan's HD2. Your home for Reds baseball, the Fan.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm getting married today.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm also a firefighter and first responder. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're also making sure I can get to my wedding ceremony, start the next chapter of my life.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Let's all give them room to work. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Summer is in full swing. If you think you're hot, well, so are your trees. You can help your trees by watering them, especially if they're newly planted. During the hot, dry summer months, your trees could use a water boost. Watering new trees a few times a week will help them survive while they're developing their root system, so don't forget about them. To find out more about watering trees or to find a certified arborist near you, go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of showers and thunderstorms very similar to the last several days into the afternoon and early evening, some which could be on the stronger side. Afternoon highs getting into the upper 80s and still muggy conditions. For tonight, we'll see chances of showers and storms and early lows down into the 70s. And for Tuesday, the best chances for showers and storms will be the first half of the day and our highs in the mid to upper 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Here's a quick 10-second reminder that the Buckeyes have won the Natty. Also, we are all the games, and we always will. Thank you. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. When General Sherman marched through Georgia, he was listening to this show.
Use your skills for good, young warrior.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, this has been, it's been a Monday. It's been a Monday in the National Football League, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the middle of it. Not one, but two deals, although I do feel like they were probably linked. I'm guessing you're doing this kind of all at the same time. So in one of those deals, they sent Minkah Fitzpatrick, the three-time All-Pro, to Miami in exchange for Jalen Ramsey. In the other part, the second deal, the Steelers acquired Jonnu Smith, who had his best years of his career in Tennessee with Arthur Smith, to Pittsburgh in exchange for a late-round pick swap. So the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason includes the acquisition of DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, Aaron Rodgers. That is what they did this offseason. Was there, again, guys, I was unplugged a lot over the last week. Was there any whisper of any of this?
I feel like a couple months ago, the Steelers were interested in Jonnu Smith.
Yes, that's true.
But that's the only thing I've heard about anything the Steelers wanted to do from a talent acquisition standpoint after the Rodgers pickup, because it was so much focus on, getting Aaron Rodgers, maybe getting a receiver next to him. Jonnu Smith would help with that. And then TJ Watt, kind of I wouldn't call it drama, because I think everyone and their grandma expected the deal to get done. It did.
I think there's been some stuff out there, too, about Jalen Ramsey for a few weeks and him possibly being moved. And then I think at some point last week, the Dolphins did kind of come out and say, or it became public that they were actively shopping him, that he would probably be on the move. But I don't think you heard the Steelers in anything. And, yeah, like Reese said, there's been Jonnu Smith rumors for quite some time. Yes. And Pittsburgh was always that team that it seemed to come back to because of the Arthur Smith, Jonnu Smith relationship.
So this is their off season as it stands now. Okay. And Brooke Pryor did a great. She's playing golf, and somehow while all of this is happening. Yes, you can't take any time off apparently in the National Football League. But they traded for DK Metcalf, traded away George Pickens, signed Aaron Rodgers, traded for Jalen Ramsey, signed Darius Slay, extended T.J. Watt, and then traded for Jonnu Smith. All of this is not their normal MO. It isn't. The question now becomes, though, how much better are they? When you look at this roster, does this feel like desperation? Does it feel like Hail Mary? They're no doubt better talent-wise than they were a year ago. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. DK Metcalf is better than George Pickens. He's more proven, certainly, and certainly more established. I think Rodgers is better than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I don't know if Ramsey's better than Minka, but he plays a premium position to Minka playing safety, so I kind of see that part of it. They had Slay as well, and then Jonnu Smith makes them now have a pretty dang good tight end room.
All of it feels low risk, very high reward, like the upside there on all of this clicking. And what really would they lose if this doesn't work this year? They're paying Aaron Rodgers pretty cheap. DK Metcalf you get for a couple of years, so you could maybe try to run it back with a quarterback you have in your room or another free agent acquisition if Rodgers doesn't work out. But defensively, they swap Fitzpatrick for Ramsey. Yeah, this to me, it doesn't feel like desperation. It feels like a team that understands that they've got to go now. And they're doing everything. They're serious people with a serious mission, which I think for Steelers fans kind of sick of the just plodding around 500. I would think you'd be extra excited with the news this morning.
Are they better than Cincinnati?
Yes.
Yeah, defensively too. Yeah, I mean, defensively, no question.
They are.
Yeah.
I think they are. Right now, I think they are. And I don't know what, Cincinnati's pretty fully formed. We've been through the pie cutting. We know what's there. And by the way, they still have their deal with Hendrickson. I'm not putting them on Baltimore's level. Or should we?
Not yet.
No, they're not there yet, I don't believe, because the quarterback play isn't there. Like, I don't think anybody's taking Aaron Rodgers over Lamar Jackson.
No. But he doesn't need to be that, does he, Bake?
No, but I'm just saying that's the deciding factor, at least. I think if all things are equal.
Yeah.
I'm going to, like right now, if you had these two teams are playing and it comes down to a final drive, I'm betting on Lamar.
No doubt. But so Pittsburgh's corner, I'm wondering what they're going to. So right now they have Slay, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey all at corner. Now Ramsey has played some safety, but I don't think that. They also have Juan Thornhill, who they acquired from Cleveland to play safety, so he's in the mix at safety. Like, where does that put? I mean, that's a hell of a cornerback room. Ramsey, Porter, and Slay, that can hang. I mean, their linebackers are Watt, Queen, Highsmith, Wilson. Still have Cam Hayward up front in the middle of all of that. That defense is filthy.
Yeah, the list of names you read, like in their defensive back, that's versatile. A lot of those guys have shown the ability to be versatile, and you can throw a lot of stuff at the wall to see what sticks during training camp.
You got Jalen Warren offensively. I think Caleb Johnson's going to be a stud for them. I think he's going to be great. So they have Jalen Warren and Johnson at running back. They now have Freiermuth, Darnell Washington. Remember, he's the Goliath from Georgia. So they still have him, and they had Jonnu Smith. So that tells me that they're going to play too tight. Tells me you're going to see a lot of too tight, and probably just the two receivers. So it's going to require Rodgers. They're still not great up front, offensive line-wise. But they now have tight ends where they're pretty loaded up. They have Metcalf on the outside. They still have Robert Woods. I think they think that they're going to get something out of Roman Wilson, third-round pick from a year ago. Not used to talking this much. But, no, I mean, it's all in. And it's now a division that I think if you walked into three of the facilities, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, you'd say, go win it. Go make a run at it. And Cincinnati's argument is, well, we have the best offense in football. We'll outscore you. and Baltimore's got the best overall team. But this Pittsburgh summer, I think you put it right, Reese. I think a lot of people are saying it's high risk, high reward. I don't think it's one season.
Yeah, I don't see risk. But too much risk, really, relative to what other teams have done to acquire the talent like this they've done in the offseason. Teams would have had to have, I thought, paid more. Or if you told me, like, here's who the Steelers acquired in the offseason, what do you think it was? I was like, probably a lot. Looking at it now, June 30th, not a lot.
So the Steelers last year won 10 games. They were 10-7. I don't think anybody would argue that they're not a better football team right now than the team that they put out there last year. I'm just looking. I can't find an over-under win total for them on the season right now, but I believe it was 8.5.
It was 8.5 after acquiring Rodgers.
So I did find some stuff. If you want to bet the Steelers to make the playoffs, it's plus 130 right now. You're getting plus money on that. If you want to bet them for over 8.5 wins, which is 9 wins, and Tomlin has never finished under 500 in his career, it's minus 120. If you want to say, hey, this Steelers team is going to get 11 wins, and you want to bet over 10.5, it's plus 275. Pretty good value.
That's great value. That's great value. And I think, if you're a Steelers fan, I'm sure you're going to miss Minka, right? I mean, he was awesome the whole time he was there. Goes without saying. But at the same time, you're better. And to your point, you won 10 games last year with not this roster. You'd not have this roster. And you're better kind of everywhere. And to me, when I look at what they did with Ramsey and now having really 3 very good, 1 elite, and really a very, very good corner room, I think you're looking at Cincinnati and saying, well, we got that to me, that's the answer to that. And they still have TJ. And then offensively, it's kind of everything Arthur Smith wants. I think they're going to run it with those 2 backs and play action off of it.
So the NFL page at ESPN Bet just updated. Yeah. The Steelers over-under win total on the season, 8.5. It's plus 105. Everybody should run.
Sprint.
I mean, I'm not saying, don't do it. Don't do it. This is just entertainment purposes only, but plus 105, that's...
Soft earned only.
Woo.
Soft earned only. But that's good value. That is very big value. And that division is a monster. It is a monster. And I do wonder, big picture, I'll be very curious to see what up 71 North, what Stefanski and Barry and the plan is for that roster. They are in a transition. All in as can be with everybody else in the division. They're all in as can be. And does that dictate what you do at quarterback? Does that dictate what you do with the rest of that roster going forward? Because these are haymaker left and rights that are being thrown by the AFC North. So massive news today in the National Football League regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jalen Ramsey for Minka Fitzpatrick, and then Jonnu Smith for a pick swap of a late-round pick down the line, and the Steelers are demonstratively better. What is really happening in college football behind the scenes at recruiting at the moment? And if you're into video games, a massive bit of news on that front as well. We'll get to that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Check it. Keno Double Booster is back every Monday in June. For all Keno tickets with Booster purchased between 3 and 5 o'clock, the Booster will be double. Check it. Your winnings could be boosted by as much as 20 times. Don't miss out. Get your Keno ticket with Booster every Monday from 3 to 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Lottery players are subject to commission laws and regulations. Play responsibly.
Check it. Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing, 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, it was as big a hit as you could be in the video game world when they returned NCAA college football last summer. It was easily the number one selling video game of last season, and I think it was one of the biggest selling video games of all time in terms of in 1 year, what the college football game did here in these fine United States of America. And today we get the basketball answer. EA Sports, bring the madness, let's run it back. So it looks like they're bringing back the NCAA college basketball game. Did you guys play this one at all, the college basketball game? I had the last one.
No, I never did.
So did you, Reese?
I did not, no.
We had on the Xbox 360, I had the last one, the physical copy of it. The last one they did. I want to say Blake Griffin maybe was on the cover of it. But now that they can do NIL, this is pretty easy to be able to do. In fact, I see Ohio State Hoops re-quoting it with a eyes wide open emoji. So they're ready to go on it. So yeah, you're gonna get your college bet. My kids are gonna be jacked for this. So, absolutely jacked.
Looks like 2028's the release. Both men's and women's college basketball teams will be part of this.
2028.
That's what I see from Chris Vanini.
Oh.
So it's coming back.
Wasn't it
2028?
Wasn't it the NCAA 94 or 95 game that started all of this going away because that's the one Ed O'Bannon sued about?
So that was you're right. Yeah. So that was Coach K college basketball, which is I had it for my dad. We still have it in a box, like most of my stuff. It's in a box, which it should be. It's his house. Like I don't need it to be out in the open. But it was the Sega Genesis, Coach K college basketball, and then also in there was NFL 94 with Joe Montana on the cover,
which you were posting about this weekend.
That was
that was amazing.
That was fun to run those back.
And I think I told you, I literally have that game in my Sega Genesis like sitting by my front door right now.
Does it operate?
I haven't tried to use it in a long time, so I'm not sure, but I think it would.
The hardest thing was finding a television that would accept the plug-in.
The old what was it? The yellow, red, and white plug-ins
guy. Yeah, no, everything's HDMI now, so like you can't. I thought that was the biggest struggle of it, was that. But the Coach K college basketball was awesome, and that was the one because that one had absolute likeness on it. It was interesting on the college basketball game. North Carolina wasn't on it, which makes sense since it's Coach K's game. But almost every other big program was, and UCLA was damn good with the O'Bannon brothers. So, yeah, you're right. That started all of those things. All right, so this is just where we are right now in the state of college football. And we saw this from the Wall Street Journal. The college sports gold rush is about to run into a brick wall. And I think this reporting by Rachel Bachman is dialed in. She writes, top football squads like Ohio State will be paid up to $35 million next season, and they won't be alone. Now, that $35 million number, it's important to remember, that's NIL. So that's not the cost of, that's not the money that you're going to get from the TV, the revenue share. That's not any of that. That's payroll for NIL. And that 35 number is conservative compared to what others are spending. And I would say the same thing if I was at the University of Texas and we were doing this show in Austin, or if we were doing this show in Birmingham or Atlanta or anywhere else. If I were spending this on a roster and my boosters were engaged enough to do it, I would say, yes, so. Yes, so. That's the price of doing business. And there's going to be much more of this. I do not think how. Go ahead, Reese.
I was just going to ask, would you be as bold, say, if you were in a city like Lubbock and you had 35 to 40 million, would you be announcing it publicly what your total roster was going to be making this season as a way to show recruits and other people around the country, like, we're spending and we're serious about this. So if you want to earn your maximum or achieve your maximum earning potential and be developed, why not Lubbock, Texas?
Yes. Yes, I would. And so would you if you were running the Texas Tech program. You know what else, guys? For all the people who say, well, these kids are just out for the money, if they were your kids, wouldn't you be too?
Encouraging them.
Wouldn't you? If there were multiple millions on the table because of some absolutely broken system that you are somehow able to take advantage of for the time being, and who knows how long this is going to last like this. It's certainly here for the foreseeable future that it's going to be like this. If it were your son or daughter, if your daughter was a softball player as good as the softball player who went from Stanford to Texas Tech and they offered her $1 million to play softball, you're not going to tell her to do it? Think of that choice. She left Stanford. That's a damn fine school to go to Texas Tech. $1 million is $1 million, and she got it twice over. So if it were your kid, you'd be doing the same thing. I do think it's important, and I can't imagine how frustrating this is for coaches because you work your tail off in recruiting. I mean, it's an up-at-dawn siege, and you fly all over the country, and you build the relationships, and you do all the right things, and then it comes time to get a commitment or get a kid to sign on the line, which is dotted, and they say, well, yeah, coach, that sounds like nice money. I appreciate that. But actually, these guys are offering me this, and there's no way for you to verify it if that number's even right. There's no way for you to check it. There's no way to police it, and you're left holding a bag with no return. And that's where we're at. And I don't see anything, guys. I really don't. I see no scenario how this. I know that a lot of these, this is the other thing that's happening. A lot of these schools are loading up right now and spending as much money as they can. USC, Texas, Miami, others. They're spending as much money as they can right now for fear that there will be some sort of guardrail soon. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that there's going to be a guardrail anytime soon. I think this stuff will fall in court over and over again because you cannot limit what someone is going to get, what someone can earn on their name, image, and likeness. You can't.
Yeah, and the NIL Go with Deloitte and the new clearinghouse, like they're going to, bless you, they're going to say deals greater than $600. But my question has been, what happens if they don't? Or what happens when you have now multiple $600 deals for the same player under just different names for these companies that have different subsidiaries? You missed this last week, but it was Rand Paul who introduced legislation that wanted to protect the NCAA and its member institutions from being involved in antitrust lawsuits. And his reasoning was what it needs to be is a fair market, a school and a player decide what that player is worth. And that to me is, it's ridiculous. And then two, because the only thing that legislation seemed to provide was just protection from being sued. And then you had Danny White, the athletic director of Tennessee, come out now with flowcharts of a collective bargaining process because they all understand that this is nonsense.
This was what I was talking about with Austin, guys. If this thing is collectively bargained, there is no stopping a booster from inducements.
Because it'll just go back under the table.
Well, correct. Reese, it can still be above the board.
That is true.
It doesn't have to go under the table. At no point did the NFL or the New England Patriots care what Tom Brady made from UGG. That's not policeable. And that's what NIL is. Is it what it was supposed to be? No. Is it the spirit of what it was supposed to be? God, no. It's pay for play is what it is. And James and I were on this early. I do think that this is the only thing that will stop this will be if there is true donor fatigue. If the donors say, man, I just shelled out over the last however many years, and I don't care how much money people have, what's my ROI? So am I getting burnt by what I have paid these players in terms of them not delivering? And is it better for me to donate my money to a building, a facility, so I can have my name on a wall, or should I buy the next 10 quarterbacks at Texas Tech? That's the only slowing this down, guys, in my view.
And that's going to probably happen at some point because people don't like just giving away their money and not getting anything back on it. Now, a lot of times they're giving this money away and they're getting tax returns on it, and that's huge for them. But like you mentioned earlier, Larry Ellison at Michigan, Reese, when is donor fatigue kick in for him, a guy that has that much money? You know, so not every team has that. So some teams, all these coaches want a level playing field and they want enforcement, yet it's never going to be a level playing field because of issues like that. And as soon as there's enforcement, you have coaches trying to find a new way to get around the enforcement.
They should have had this CBA thing, this NFL model, locked up before they opened the can of worms that is NIL. That's what a forward-thinking operation would have done.
Next guy can do it, though.
That's all it is. Pass the buck. Next. No, this is where we are. And the contracts will save it a little, but if you're making less money from the collectively bargained deal with the television partner to play at Ohio State than you are from the booster, who's still writing a big check every year for you to endorse, there's no policing any of that. And that's not happening anytime soon. I don't see any scenario how it could. I don't think it's going to hold up in a court. I don't think it's enforceable. I don't think it's policeable. I'd be shocked if anything really changes with this stuff tomorrow. I really don't think that it will. We'll get you 3 things on a Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Give your liver the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to newnordicusa.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Must be the love. Yeah. Must be the love right now.
There's so much to love in Ohio because the heart-shaped state is the heart of adventure with 76 free state parks, amusement parks, ballparks, and more. The heart of opportunity with great jobs and a low cost of living. Ohio is the heart of it all. Follow your heart at ohio.org.
Sponsored by Tourism Ohio and aired by this station.
Hey, it's Austin Ward here. Did you jump into Awaken 180's Lose 40 by the 4th offer? If you did, wasn't it simple? People think losing weight has to be difficult, but it really isn't if you have the right plan, the right support, and if you're eating to lose weight. If you missed 40 by the 4th, no worries. There's plenty of summer left to hit your goals. Barbecues, golf, pool parties, all included with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Start today and start dropping weight your very first week. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Come into your local AAA Tire and Auto Service and save up to $30 on auto repair with their AAA Triple Play. And on the plus side, AAA members save more. Offer valid July 1st through July 31st. See store for details.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Thief! Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, WNBA expanding to the great state of Ohio. The Cleveland area will get a WNBA franchise. Now, they had one before, didn't they? Cleveland Rockers, maybe?
That sounds right.
Yeah. And that's when there was the WNBA, and then there was the rival league. And didn't Katie Smith lead the team here? Didn't we have a team
It was the
here?
Columbus Quest, and she did play here for a little while, I believe.
It was like the national, what was it called? Yeah. So that predates my time, obviously. But I do think that that league's got a lot of juice right now, and it feels like the right time. By the time this happens, it'll be 2028 or something like that, and they'll get to 18 teams. So that seems like good timing on that. Go ahead, Vic.
It was the American Basketball League, is what they called it, and yeah, it was the Columbus Quest 96 to 98.
Yeah, it's interesting that they went for both of them coming out of the 96 Olympics. And the idea that one would be able to rival the WNBA that seems like a tough road to hoe when you have the NBA backing the other one. Also here in the last hour, Netflix announcing America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. It premieres August 19th. This will be a lot of what we've seen in sports documentaries recently with the sports washing. My hunch is this will be that too, about the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and the building of it. I will say, though, that he does have Jimmy Johnson participating, which I wasn't sure if he would or not. But by Jimmy Johnson participating, you're going to get at least some version of the real truth. I do think that this team, to follow like the early 90s Cowboys, you could almost make that like what they did with the Lakers with the Showtime series. I think that would have all of the elements that you would want on those type of things. What do we have on the poll today, Reese?
The Daily Fan Poll asks to grade the Blue Jackets for all of their acquisitions over the weekend. So you got a couple players acquired, and then the 6 draft picks. A, B, C, D, or F are your 4 options. 56% of you say they're going to give the Blue Jackets a B in what they were able to acquire over the weekend.
Seem fair, Bake?
Yeah, I think so, because you thought maybe you would get more, but like I said, Charlie Coyle, Miles Wood make you tougher to play against, and I do think they got good value on their draft picks, so I'd go B as well.
Now, Mitch Marner would move that to an A.
Tyvus said he's streaking if that happens.
Now, it was just a couple of years ago where Reese said exactly that in regard to Johnny Gaudreau. And I said, stop it. And then we got Johnny. You heard it here first, kids. Time for 3 things on a Monday.
1, 2, 1, 2. 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
Yeah, they sling pontoons there. You go get one of those babies. Anyone could drive those. I know I did. Number one for me, this was one of the highlights of the trip. We are in downtown Coeur d'Alene and had finished dinner, and Bootsy wanted, of course, snacks and dessert. And so across the street was a gelato place. So we went across the street to get gelato. As I mentioned, everything out west, if it's they just love huckleberry. It's just everywhere. Like the fruit is everywhere. It's in jams, it's in pies, it's in gelato, it's in ice cream, it's in waffles, everything that you could imagine they'll put huckleberry in. And it's a delightful fruit. It's quite good. It's kind of a cross between a blackberry and a blueberry is kind of the flavor you get, but it's very, very good. So when you buy the cup of gelato, it was, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, I don't know, it was about the size of a Dixie cup, like a small Dixie cup. So it's like one scoop. For all the rest of the gelatos, it was $4. For the huckleberry, it was $6.50. So it said add $2.50 for huckleberry. So Bootsy is out on the street. There's quite a few people milling around. It's a beautiful Tuesday night in Coeur d'Alene. And he starts dancing, kind of dancing, like he's Mr. Cool Guy. And as he's dancing, he goes like this, and the entire scoop falls out onto the sidewalk. The whole thing falls onto the sidewalk. So then he laughs at it, and then he almost starts to cry. And I said, well, we've only been outside for 30 seconds. Come on, let's go. So we walked back in, and I said, we've lost our scoop. And you know what? Want to know what the scoop girl says to me? She goes, what a coincidence. It's always the huckleberry. I said, what do you think? I'm running a scam here for a scoop? I just spent $30 on 4 scoops of ice cream. I'm running a scam to steal huckleberry? I said, you go look at it. It's on the sidewalk. I think your profit margins are intact.
I mean, it's plausible. Everybody gets the huckleberry. Like, wow. Mine dropped.
You take it. I'm going to go act like I dropped it so I can get another one. It's $6.50 a scoop.
Because everybody's been asking. So David Blitzer purchased a 25% stake in the Cleveland Guardians back in June of 2022. He has an option to acquire controlling interest in 2028. So
there you go.
Just because you're interested. I know everybody's interested.
Yep.
My first thing, I don't know or care whether you like Morgan Wallen's music or not, or like Morgan Wallen as a person or not. It was the first concert in Camp Randall Stadium this past weekend was him since 1997. They had not had a concert in that stadium since then. Not only does he walk out on stage with Brett Favre, then he plays Jump Around, and the whole stadium goes crazy. It's all lit up. It looks awesome. Good job out of him.
The Hoff was there. Joe Thomas was there. Yeah, he took it in with the family, the Morgan Wallen thing. So, yeah, he's going to be in Cleveland in August, right? I think that he's doing that 2 nights up in Cleveland on the lake.
Could be. I'm sure it'll be packed.
Yeah, he puts on a show. Number 2 for me, I complain a lot about the airline industry and what's happened in our various trials and tribulations. Really smooth. Everything on time, everything early. Well done out of the airline industry. We flew Delta out, flew United back, but everything went very, very smoothly. I would not lie to you. It would be a lie for me to say that I did not have a near panic attack just getting off the plane in O'Hare on Saturday night and just seeing the mass chaos at that place and understanding how they get planes up and down is a miracle, considering how many people do it. It's absolutely wild.
Second thing for me, a website called Finance Buzz has the most boring cities in America ranked. And we could do this for higher or lower on Thursday, but just for right now, the city of Columbus, our great capital city, was ranked as the 8th most boring city in the country.
Oh.
And I'll just read a little bit of it. Home to Ohio State, Columbus doesn't offer the student body much to do when they get off campus, despite being one of the most populated cities in the entire Midwest. Columbus is among the 20 lowest scoring cities in the country, and the city has the 14th lowest rate of nightclubs per capita, to which I say good. And also, this might not be a good thing for Columbus, but it's never boring if you're a building, and it could be today, it could be tomorrow. A car might find its way into you.
Second thing for me, Rothman and Ice, they are coming up next. Big get for these guys. Coming up at 2 o'clock today, the newest Columbus Blue Jacket, Charlie Coyle, will join AR in the gang.
good news there. We're up against it, but we were talking about Jake Retzlaff earlier in the show, so I should pass this bit of news along. Civil lawsuit accusing BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff of rape will likely be dismissed after attorneys for both sides filed a joint motion on Monday. So there is the news on that side as we're discussing that earlier in the show. It is good to be back. It is even better to pass it over to Rothman and Ice. They're coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvis weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, The Fan.
Newman Roofing is proud to sponsor The Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin County fire station or buy online. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
Colin Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain interoffice emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks, trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Summer is officially here, and that means rising temperatures. You're going to be thinking about how you can keep cool all summer long. What's the best plan here? Well, one of the ways you can beat the heat and keep the air conditioning you're paying for in your home is to get Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. And now's a great time to do it. They've got a semi-annual sale where you buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows for free. Plus a free entry door when you purchase a whole house full of windows. No money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027. It's a deal that can't be beat. You're getting a great deal from Window Nation because they are high-efficiency windows that are also very affordable. They do that by working directly with the top window manufacturers in the country, which means all their windows are assembled right here in the USA. But don't wait on that semi-annual sale. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 windows free. Free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows, plus pay nothing until 2027. You've got to schedule your estimate today. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Once again, that number, 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Ever wonder where your go-to maintenance person gets the metal products they need to fix yours and everyone else's problems? The best in the business go to Metal Supermarkets for their wide variety of metal products and shapes to tackle projects from simple to complex. Metal Supermarkets is your source for all metals cut to size and ready fast. No minimum order with maximum service. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or at Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Central Ohio contractors and homeowners, 3D Cabinetry is your go-to for fast, hassle-free service from order to install. 3D Cabinetry delivers fully assembled all-wood affordable cabinets. Visit 3dcabinetry.net today for your free consultation. That's 3dcabinetry.net.
This 4th of July, Bob's Discount Furniture is bringing back 4 for the 4th. Spotlighting 4 must-have trendsetters for $7.99 and under, like my farmhouse chic Calvin bedroom, Playday sectional with pop-up sleeper and hidden storage, Consumer Reports recommended treasure mattress, and my 5-star Betty dining set in 4 gorgeous colors. So stop in or visit mybobs.com and celebrate 4 for the 4th. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $699.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sports book for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available